Out. He was talking about how he missed NVIDIA, and I was like, come on.
Yeah, NVIDIA, and nice play on XOM this morning. Lots of, Neil was just showing the chart. Just interesting things bouncing around. Boing, boing.
Well, topical, because we were talking specifically about, like, what do you do with these chip names? Yeah. And I think, you know, for NVIDIA, it's a lot easier. We're talking NVIDIA, and then you were saying AMD, and AMD, yeah. ARM, and Intel. And it's like, you got to realize, NVIDIA channel up. Like, it's that's a buy the dip situation. Definitely not as simple when you're talking about something like an AMD or an Intel. Those are nuanced, man. Like, and I feel like if you've been trying to trade those successfully to the long side, it's been tricky for swing trades. But NVIDIA's a different story because you can buy dips. And ARM's been that kind of a story too. Like, you get those dips in and you're able to buy it and then hold. But yeah, I'm with you. Like, Intel, that's a hard one to try and swing into. It's a great day today. Don't get me wrong. Intel, absolutely flying. The V-shaped recoveries. I mean, there was like flying Vs everywhere. It might as well have been like the Mighty Ducks up in here.
That move right
because it's like flying Vs, and I don't even know what you call this pattern on Intel, but that's not even a V-shaped recovery. There were stocks that were like Vs to the bottom. This was a pure hold of support on Intel. Pure hold of support. Right where the range of support was when NVIDIA's earnings came out, and then boom, shot to the upside, and it's not alone. At highs, breaking higher, and look at Micron as well. 5% up, and again, hold of the low. Hold of the low. Like, there's so many names that were able to hold those bottoms. Another one, and we're just going to wait for, obviously, Sharif is going to get himself set up. SMCI, hold of the low, never broke down, actually never even got into those bottoms. So yeah, absolutely wild one for today's session, no questions asked. I'm only in Mara. You're now back above VWAP. NVIDIA's up 1%. But obviously, this market was bleeding, and I think some of it had to do with, he had MSTR. What has happened on DJT?
I'm in a new position here. Something about crypto here. So they may start accepting crypto payments, I guess, on the platforms for Truth Social. So we want to get involved in this name. You know, if and when it starts to rip up, so we'll take a small piece there, and then we'll just see if it wants to hold 30 bucks. If it comes back in, we'll get out. Just want to see what winds up happening here with DJT as, oh boy. Sharif was just talking about being $100 in the money. Obviously, that's not, you know, going to be realistic. But if we're going to talk about realistic trading, I mean, I hope these guys had some good trades for you on the midday. But I mean, right here, we are $6 in the money on NVIDIA. We are $3.50 in the money on Apple. And it's not like these are just trades that we ho-hummed. These are trades that we had talked about, and we're really proud of being able to show you some of these takes here. So again, as we keep on promoting real trading, that's what this is, right? We sit here and we trade for you every single day. Please hit the like and the subscribe. Here comes DJT. Let's figure out. I have no more targets for NVIDIA. Let's just keep on going higher. For DJT, 31. I mean, if we're going to give it a little bit of room here, then we got to let it go a little higher, right? So let's see if we can get a piece out at 32, and then we'll just go from there. I mean, this is just going to be a pure momentum play as it starts to break a little bit higher. We're long right now. DJT, let's see where it goes. Walmart, we're 50 cents in the money, $5. So right now we're $6 in the money in NVIDIA, $3.50. So that's $9.50, 50 cents on Walmart, that's $10, and then 20 cents. So $10.20 in the money right now per share on these positions.
That's what it's all about. And I guess I haven't seen that story on the wire, but as you said, they're accepting crypto at DJT. On the platform, it doesn't matter. It's now broken out of yesterday's highs. I was trying to get in off this 50 level on the way back, did not pick it up. But look, if it comes back in, prior resistance at $30.50, looking for some potential support there, as DJT is one of the names just continuing to fly higher. New York Times is...
No, the story's right there. It's right on your screen. You just didn't see it. It's right there. It's Trump. If you come over to my screen here, it's Trump Media mulling a crypto payment service. So it's right there. It was there 2 minutes.
That's why, because it was back.
Yeah, so there it is right there, called TruthFi.
TruthFi.
So there you go, man. WonderFi, TruthFi.
Why not?
All right, so we're already in the money. I mean, here it goes again. Let's just... This is, you know, we'll see if we can get any money on this. I don't know. We're waiting at 32 bucks. So a little bit of a spike up would be nice to get us out. But we'll see. We just had a little exhausted candle up there. I don't like the fact that the news is already out and we haven't halted. We haven't really done anything. So that's what we're playing this for. We're taking shares as if this name had a chance of halting, which would mean at least a $3 move. So we're not going to be, taking tons of shares or layering in this position. Let's just see if you know, the media gets a hold of this, and if some traders start to buy it up, I'm pretty sure that we are good and early on the story. So, you know, we missed it by about $1. You can't do much about that. Volume came in. We're on the second volume candle right there. So we got it, and we'll just see what we can do now. Might fade back out, but we're flat on it. If you don't like it, you can always get out. But there's Ethereum 3,400 right now. We like to see that moving around. And then someone just messaged me as well on the chat, Jam Lowkey. What's up, Jam Lowkey? The third largest crypto, or no, not the third largest, that's a lie, fourth, is XRP. And right now that's 113. We could refresh that. You just wanted to see what XRP was doing. Oh no, it's moving up right now. My bad. We didn't refresh it. Okay, there it is. 122. So Ripple right now starting to move higher right now as well. Solana up 10%. There's Ethereum. It's altcoin season, baby, as this continues to go up. Cardano trying to catch a bit as well. Yes, 80 cents and change. So 40 cents on Cardano, 40% on Cardano, 58% last week there, 20% on Solana, 10 on Bitcoin, 8 on Ethereum. The crypto market be hot right now, and not a bad movement for DJT trying to get into that space right there. But yeah, more to come. Let's go over to the desk or to the screen, and we will review, as I'll delay and let Joe get by. We'll review what you guys want us to talk about, but for right now, DJT over 1050 in the money right now, total positions.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. You saw Neil and Sean. They're already here. They're locked and they're loaded, ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But make sure to join us during that How to Trade Midday show and get into that chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. A bit of a new format now. We've got 2 polls, one at the beginning of the show and then one halfway through right at 12:30. And we'll take the top 4 of the bunch. Let's start with a look at these major averages here. Here is a triple Qs up 0.4%. Last time I looked, the ES outperforming today, the NQ up 0.2%, with the Dow up 1.25%, but the cake, the winner, goes to the Russell 2000 up 2% on the day, and we saw that during the midday show because there's umpteen amount of small cap gappers running on the day. Let's start with the first, though, ticker as decided by you guys, NVIDIA. No real surprise there. Monster earnings for this one yesterday, beating on the top and bottom line. Really, there was nothing bad to say about this other than when do we get our hands on the Blackwell, guys? Good look for NVIDIA, back in green territory.
Got red to, well, I mean, obviously it was flying this morning, and then, so it went from red to green because in the pre-market, and well, in the aftermarket show, and shout out to everybody that attended and was watching the aftermarket show, because it was a banger, it was a blast, and we had record attendance, all for the NVIDIA show, and really NVIDIA lagged, but they bought it up, and you always want to see stocks that get by the dips, and this is why we talked about it with Randy. Like, it's a little bit easier when you get a big dip on earnings. Look at the reaction in the pre-market. Was just hold the lows and then grind higher, then break it out. Now, obviously, that 150 breakout, it was as clean as it gets. I got filled at 01s and was fortunate to get filled at 01s. It was a clean breakout. It pushed first out there when it broke the one. It was so fast through the first dollar. It broke the $1 level. Then it came in, took some out in front of 2s. And then when it got to 53, at that point, I'm holding on to that last 20% for the dream. The way that it rejected back in, like when it got to 53, if you look at the way it rejected that 51 the second time, when it came back through, I was holding on to 5% for the break-even stop. Once it goes that far, there was no more holding for me, and I was waiting for the 145 level right in here where the acceleration happened. That was pretty much it for the working long screen. It's my best stock for 1 and 2. That was a losing trade. That was a losing trade. And now you've got the V-shaped recovery on NVIDIA. It's going to be really key. I think at this point, if it can hold on to green, that'll be a good sign for NVIDIA after earnings, right? Like to have that reaction negatively. The growth was good, but it was slowing in, obviously, when you have 250% growth year over year and then 200, like you're not going to do that forever. So I understand why there was some trepidation even with that strong guidance. But at the end of the day, if it can end up holding on to green, it won't be at a fresh all-time high despite having made one, but then it lets it do a consolidation phase potentially on the daily chart. You know, give yourself a bit of a consolidation that can hold after earnings. If it doesn't make a fresh low, then all systems can be a go. And then just very quickly over to some other things that weren't that good. And we're talking about how tricky something like an AMD is or an Intel. And this is why. Like, it's a downward sloping chart. It is still red on the day. And if I'm looking for reversions, it's going to be AMD. I did have 2 shorts on AMD. One of them, as you can see, stopped out when NVIDIA was flushing. I got back in at a worse price for less shares, but it is what it is. Just wasn't quite fast enough after getting stopped out. The bid was dropping fast this morning, and it was hard to get into some of those positions. Now that it's under VWAP, I'll look for consolidation under VWAP. But AMD, I'm thinking shorts. NVIDIA, I'd rather look for a dip buy off of VWAP. But yeah, super happy with the performance on NVIDIA today.
Yeah, NVIDIA is an absolute monster. I mean, if you guys were here watching earlier, I mean, you saw how I traded it. We had a huge trade there right off the open, 146.50. You know, just to be out, like if we were already up more on NVIDIA just on this play than, you know, anyone would be up right now. And that was just off of that one play. Then it broke through 150, and it was like, oh my God, we're starting to get some out at 153 and everything, and then the dream became nightmarish. Hold on a second, as we went back up, I have to keep looking at where VWAP is right now because we're starting to go on DJT. So we actually wind up getting a fill up there on DJT. DJT right now, 3170. We're waiting at 85s. We're waiting at 84s. Just missed a fill there on DJT. But there's the break. We averaged it in against VWAP. It broke. We got out. We took another shot rate. So, like, our hits are small. It's not like, you know, the thing is that same thing as we did yesterday. This is why we crushed this name yesterday. Smaller hits only to wait for a move like this, right? So there's the break. Okay, there's DJT right now. Really starting to go. Look, reviewing all these trades is one thing, right? But here we go. This is, again, real trading. We just took that trade with you. We took it against ourselves. We talked about why we like this trade. There's DJT. We bring the news to you. And there it goes to the upside. I mean, there's not much else that we can do. I was slapping the sirens. We brought that to you right there. It's a quick little trade. I hope some of you were able to capitalize on that, whether you grabbed some options or whether you just bought the stock right there. DJT, 60 cents straight there off of that bid, and you could have got a lot better. So just in there, right there, DJT, just in the last 5 minutes, runs up the board P&L-wise there. Now, we're only out of a third of this name. So hopefully we'll get a little more out. We got a big piece out there, and we got like 10% out there, the other 25% or so out right there. We'll see if DJT, what it wants to do right now. Could still tank back in. All right, so anyways, at the end of the day, we're back into NVIDIA. At some point, we had to try to find a bottom, but it was silly to try to find it in here. We kept on finding it, getting back up, having a dollar winner. Then eventually it broke again right there, losing probably 50 cents or $1, taking the long again, having it break on us down here again, and then eventually buying it back up. So really just buying all the dips at the end of the day and then just trying to step higher. If we can make stairs. So at the top there, that was 147.50-ish from a 141.50. So about $6 there. And that seems to have been maybe the top. So I think we can hold the rest until we break through VWAP. Let's just be wrong at VWAP, and then we'll be happy with that. So Apple's actually much more impressive. We'll talk about that after the rundown.
Gensler is out as SEC chair. The Securities and Exchange Commission reported today he's stepping down the day Donald Trump is expected to take office, January 20th, and noted a crypto detractor. So we'll have to see how the price reacts after that. Separately, this morning, Bitcoin making all-time highs, breaking through that 98,000, guys, and MSTR was really moving on it, but big down day today for MSTR, about 6.5% in the red.
Well, there was the Citron story for MSTR. So obviously, it's vastly different from everything else in the crypto space. So Andrew left, targeting MicroStrategy as a hedge against Bitcoin, as the company is completely, his words, completely detached from BTC fundamentals. Those are his words, not mine. But as you can see with MSTR, yeah, like right off of the open, it had already made a double top. And look, everything was running higher, and it had already made a double top. And then right at 9:30, it just fell through 540, and then the acceleration just continued lower and lower. And it was nasty. And as a matter of fact, even with this latest push now to almost 99,000, I don't want to get ahead of myself, like Bitcoin is now almost at 99,000, and you're still pressing on the lows in MicroStrategy. So clearly there is some unwinding going on, but you have to remember where this came from. You know, we're just yesterday and for the last few weeks, we've been talking about how crazy the move has been on MSTR. So it has been a little bit overextended. So it does make some sense. The crypto name I'm in right now is Mara. is it's been just holding about 24.8 to 25 on the V-shape, and I've just been playing in and off of this level a few times, a couple times under on the dips, and then every time it gets above 25, taking some out. So it's holding a channel up here. If we take 100,000, the play for me was to be long Mara into 100,000 break, and that still looks pretty good. MicroStrategy, I think you gotta, yeah, you might have to sit MicroStrategy out. I don't think it's going to be the one, not the way that it's trading.
MSTR. Okay. Just see if there's anything else happening right now. Not really. Wait a minute. What is yeah, this came back in. Okay. So MSTR. Yeah, I mean, I still like the stock. We talked about, you know, how it is a levered Bitcoin product. So we always knew it was a levered Bitcoin product. So there's no surprise that it's levered. So I don't really understand like that whole analysis there, but you got to go over there and read the report to get it all figured out. For me, I'd just stay away. I mean, if you were just long IBIT or Bitcoin, I mean, here goes Bitcoin right now. All-time highs right now, 99,000. So you're starting to break out again. There's Bitcoin right here on a 1-minute chart, continuously moving higher. So why not just stay? Here's a 30-minute chart. There it is, all-time highs right now for Bitcoin being made right in front of our face. So I would just say stay long IBIT, stay long BTC, and you continue to win. I just got filled on some more Ethereum actually, and some more Ripple. So I'm starting to liquidate a little bit here out of some crypto names, but you know, still holding on. Haven't sold anything of Bitcoin. And I would honestly, if you're in MSTR, regardless of what you think of this whole Sailor news, it is a huge move down, man. And it was 540 yesterday. You know, all the way to the down, or I guess not yesterday, but at the morning there, all the way back into 450. I might ring the register on half of what I had just in case there is something here. But at the end of the day, you know, this name probably just rips back up. I mean, once Bitcoin breaks 100,000, there's no stopping it. So yeah, all, you know, clear skies. Again, last week I said Thanksgiving, you know, it's going to be a week before that. So here it comes, man, $1,000 away from 100. Get ready. Yeah, you're right. I mean, XRP is going to moon. So that's why I just took some out. It's not, it's not the end of the world here. All right, let's go back over and find out about SMCI and then Walmart, which has been a banger.
They submitted a plan, Sean, to the NASDAQ to get regained compliance and file their yearly financial statements. It's just a plan. They actually haven't filed the statement itself, so we'll have to wait and see whether or not it gets accepted by the NASDAQ. It didn't matter, though. The market was exuberant about the plan, and it's up, guys, 15.25.
Context matters for that 15% move in SMCI. Like, not all moves are the same, right? Like, oh, okay, that's right. It's not going to be split adjusted. But anyways, SMCI, it's not quite a double up from the bottom, but you have to remember the most recent gap. Like, it was almost a $50 stock when all you know what broke loose. So it's just trying to get a little bit back in here. It was SSR today, short sell restricted, because of the drop yesterday. So because of the drop it had yesterday, we came in and it was 10% down. But the reason we liked it, and right before 11 o'clock, we're like, we like SMCI at VWAP. So many names that we're tracking is adjacent to the NVIDIA story and the chip space. And we're breaking lower, and this is one that held on to pre-market lows. It held on to the highs from the aftermarket yesterday. So that it was just relatively strong the whole way, and that's why we liked it going through VWAP. 27.40 into 28. It broke out, went parabolic into 28. I trailed out at 29. It's still going, got to $30. But I think the idea is, you know, when you'll see this, sometimes you want to just look for like long and strong stocks, right? Like when everything else was trending down, this was holding support. You know, and then after that, it was making higher lows, which is just an easier case to make. And the other two that I was showing in that idea, Intel, sort of the same thing. And you could have looked at Micron. Micron maybe not as distinct in terms of how it was trending, but it was holding on to those aftermarket levels. If your thesis was NVIDIA and the aftermarket support, then you're holding on to those levels and not breaking lower. I thought the easiest of those three was SMCI. I don't know that I would have ever tried at Micron the way that it flushed in here. But yeah, SMCI, I like the relief rally. They're not completely out of the water. What they have is an extension, which is indefinite for them to regain compliance. Get that file in. They've got the new auditor, but this does not mean they are 100% out of the water. Like, you know, they could still come out of the index. I mean, anything can still happen here.
We just got out, just before we do this here, we did get out of some Apple right there at 229.50 as it is starting to point a little bit southbound right now underneath the 50 period. And you can see some of these names starting to go down. We do have a new trade alert though. It is new holdings and we'll talk about that in 1 minute. All right, are you ready to put your trading skills to the test? Because if you are, please scan that QR code right there because Trade the Pool and Trader TV Live has introduced a stock trading competition. We've got some exciting prizes lined up, including a massive $160,000 extra buying power valuation for first place. The thing is, there's 20 first place prizes, so hopefully you'll be able to grab one of those. The competition kicks off on December 2nd and runs through December 6th, with winners announced on the 9th. The competition is your opportunity to push your limits and see how far your skills can take you. Mark your calendars and click on not only the link in description, but scan that QR code right there. We actually got a super chat from somebody today on the midday that had said they'd entered this challenge. So good one there, as I'm sure it will be a challenge. And it's very, very hard to make money. And as I said, though, no better place to take a shot there, go into the prop side of things. It's still extremely difficult to do it, but if you guys can go over there, have a shot, give it a chance. And hey, if you win, you get that extra buying power, and then you can deploy it as you see fit. New holdings right now starting to go back upside, so we like this trade a little bit. Falling back in, this is like the Brazilian SoFi. We've talked about that. This is a Warren Buffett name as well. I believe he could still be in it. We could just check the filing. But it just fell right back into VWAP and the 200 period moving average. So what was a good day for it, it's just fallen back in. So we'll buy some dips there on NU and then hopefully have another chicken dinner winner on this name. So we could take it out now and buy ourselves a couple cups of coffee. All right, Sharif, let's go talk about Walmart. We got this one, man.
So Bank of America and Jefferies have a street high price target now after the latest earnings of 105, a nice premium from where it's currently trading at 88 1/3. In case you're wondering what's going on with Walmart lately, they reported earnings, I believe on Monday or Tuesday, and it was very well received, especially when Target reported the next day, and that was not well received at all. So Walmart taking the cake here, guys, up 1 1/3.
No surprise. It's been a name that we've been looking at for a while. It was earnings a couple days ago, so it's day 3 play here, and I love it. And it was just on our sticky note. We hadn't had Walmart on here for a minute. Some pretty interesting things that we tweeted out, NVIDIA by revenue cap, and then big names that also own Bitcoin ahead of MicroStrategy right there. But here it was right here. We talked about Walmart, 88 break long, support down there at 86 from yesterday. It did not catch anything off that target issue, so we like the long, like just back to doing what you do best, Walmart. And here it is, man. So it's a nice little move up. We've had it. We didn't get out at 50s. That was the high of the day. But there's the break there. It went against us 20 cents almost immediately, and then just came back up. Those are 20 cents. That's 50 cents. That's another 20 cents, 20 cents, 25 cents, 35, 40 cents. And we're almost out of it. So Walmart right now, just 10% left. I like the stock. But continues to go higher. You got to trade things other than the norm. So we've done that right now with DJT. We've traded some new holdings here. You haven't seen me in that before. We get a fill there at 43. We traded this before, actually. This was a big trade on that rebalance, by the way, if you guys remember. Walmart. Again, I like it. Didn't look at Target today, but I just like Walmart and stick with the names you like.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, go long and strong stocks. Walmart's great. I'm going to show you Target in a quick second, but before we do that, he does still hold it. 1.18 billion allocation in Berkshire Hathaway for new holdings. It's only 0.4%, but they have a lot. So a billion for them is.
I bought this name on its IPO because of that reason.
Yeah, the kids.
I have to check in on it. I have no idea. It's not.
You know what?
I own too many names.
Look, I like SoFi, but it's that comparison you always get a lot. Here's what I want to say about with regards to Walmart. I didn't trade it today. I like Walmart. I love the fact that it continues to go from that 86 level. It's a great long-termer. But Target's down today, down another 0.5%. It's at least not making a fresh low, so that's the good news for Target. It didn't make a fresh low. That's it. There's nothing else I can say that's positive about it. But this is the difference. And I think at some point it probably catches a bit, but I think you want to let this one calm down. If it loses 120, I think it can be in trouble. I got to show you, I said if we got under VWAP, I was looking at only at AMD for the shorts, but much like earlier, don't want to fight much of anything today. So I was just in underneath VWAP, gave it to the local high. If we get back underneath and can start trending down, I don't mind taking another shot at it, especially if it were to wick in. But I want to keep everything sort of tight to the vest, and you're starting to head back up. But when it comes to, in a general sense, we started with Randy talking about just buy the best names and that kind of a thing. Walmart is another perfect example of that. You can make an argument for Costco, and I'm not going to say anything bad about it. But when you're making a juxtapose between Walmart and, say, Target, I think that's an easy one. And the best thing about it is the chart should make it obvious a lot of times when you look at these things. And if you can't tell, then maybe you want to go into the fundamentals, which are also fantastic for Walmart. One thing that I think caught a lot of people off guard, at least it caught myself off guard, how far it fell, was Google here. Because we saw that story. I wasn't anticipating. I never was looking long on Alphabet, but I certainly didn't expect it to fall the way that it did today, Sharif.
Yeah, it was a bit of a tougher look there, Neil. All right, talking about falling off, 120 billion got wiped off the market cap today of Google, possibly and still going. In case you're wondering what's going on, the Department of Justice really pushing for remedies here. Things being floated around are anything from divesting Chrome, divesting Android, to liberalizing their search business. Even the Anthropic deal that Google struck is on the table here. Most legal commentators, though, saying the likelihood of the outcome here, the remedy that will probably be in play, will be Google's ability to deal make with the likes of Apple and the others, where they are the default search engine, excuse me. So right now, down 5 3/4, guys, but off the lows.
Right. Yeah, like when you consider, and obviously, like the focus today was on Bitcoin, hopefully getting to 100,000, still 1,400 away, and Nvidia was going to be in place with the chips, and that we're going to take form. So sometimes you don't think enough about the ancillary or the other stories. I think that was my issue for Alphabet. They do so much. Look, their revenue is so built in to search, and when you really think about how much it dropped today, it's not that bad. It bounced off the 200-period moving average. So I think if you're looking for a buy spot today, like that was your spot. And if you're waiting for it, it came in absolutely perfectly for you there. And then it lost support, obviously, through that 170. If the 200 can hold for a couple of days, I think you've got a little bit of a bounce zone. That said, when you zoom it a little bit further out, if this loses the 200 period, it could easily drop another 10-15%. So I would be very patient waiting for this. Like I like Amazon on a recent dip. I went and picked up some Amazon today at lunchtime. Was just looking at some names that were depressed, and when we had that flush, I'm like, what was I a little bit underweight on that I wanted to get some of, and Amazon ended up being the one. I didn't want to pick up Alphabet off that 200 period. I feel like a little bit caught off guard by that story here in Google. So let's see how it responds for a couple of days here. If we hold on to the 200 period and just start consolidating off the 200 and the 50 period like it has done before, then I think this can be okay. So I don't have any issues with that on Alphabet, but I do not want to touch this falling knife. Not today. It's underneath VWAP, clearly relatively weak. It's going to be a hands-off. This is a wait till next week and see how it responds.
Thank you so much to Temek here in the Google chat, in Twitter here, sending me a DM saying, let's go. So there it is right there watching. And yeah, thank you for that nice little comment. Okay. Oh, what I want to get at too, Google. Yeah, I'm talking about Google. I mean, I own some Google. We sold some Google at 180.50. So we always talk about taking profits at the high side of some names, and it still is. Actually, NVIDIA is probably going to be the largest holding right now. I do have a Walmart order at 88.50. So now that's okay. It's actually at 88.46. So I was trying to follow this 50-period moving average, and that's exactly where it is right now. So looks like we could slip up and get a little bit lower right now. Remember, we're long at 88. So you want to get out if it breaks through 30. There's nothing wrong with that. We only have 5% left. So it's absolutely nothing on that one. DJT not moving at all, so we'll have to wait.
We should mention back.
I was going to use, hold on, say 30.50. So I'm going to actually, where's my, I did have a dip buy opportunity in there to 30.25s if that came through. I'm just going to get out if we break 30.50, so 30.39 or so on this play, out 100% of it. If that's what winds up happening, then I'm good with that. We will wind up getting out. So just so you guys know, that's one of the plays that I'm going to be doing. If it breaks below 30.69, we gone like Donkey Kong on that one. That is DJT, and then Walmart. And then we were able to get some 43s, or was it 44s on NU, but at the end of the day, this is just a quick little scalp. Like I said, try to pay some bills with that one, and we'll just continue to watch everything else. And then we'll look at anything. Any chance NVIDIA rallies to 170 in 2 weeks? Yes. Very, very good chance that happens, man. I mean, look, Neil wasn't here last week, but like, we talked about it, BTC, and it was at 88, 87, and I said, we're at 100 by Thursday, by Thanksgiving, right? We talked about, we were going to talk about that. We said that with Brian Shannon last Tuesday. We told him about it this Tuesday as well, which was only 2 days ago. And, it's going to happen faster than we think. So NVIDIA, 170 would mean that you'd have to go up 10%, like 15% from here. I think you could have a 3 or 4, 5% day in NVIDIA even tomorrow, break out that high, come in tomorrow, be above 150. I think we can get above 150 today. And then you're with a moonshot of that play. I would rather give NVIDIA a little bit more room than just say that's how quickly it will happen. But at the end of the day, I think it's only higher from here. Supply, like when supply is your problem, that's a very, very high quality problem to have. So I really like NVIDIA and everything that they're doing there. And like Amazon's trying to get in the space as well.
Their margins are like selling soft drinks at McDonald's.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like them. There's literally nothing like them.
Like when I say like it's
no
like
competition.
Okay, well, I think soft drinks are literally, it's probably like 90% margin because you're paying for they pay for the cup.
Oh yeah, it's more than that, but it's a high margin business. That's
70 when you're over 70% margin selling something that ridiculously expensive. I mean, come on, son. We should have pointed this out. Well, I should have pointed this out because I did. That the story on DJT, Backed did make a move. It's already pulling back. So if you're watching this story, BKKT went back to red on that same move. And someone asked in the chat, what's the equivalent price on IBIT for 100,000? Approximately 50, just underneath 57, I believe. That's like, I did like napkin math on that one. So just underneath the 57 level. It is consolidating off of this top. So you're really tight to 99,000 on Bitcoin. There you go. So we're at 98. You don't need a daily chart. Let's show the 15-minute. Our high, we got up to, wait a minute. I'm missing data on my trading view chart. Anyways, we're at 98.5, not at 97.5. That's bizarre. There. I don't know why that one's missing data, but I'll refresh in a second. We're at 98.5 on BTC. IBIT, if we break 100,000, will have gone through the high 56s. I don't know if I think it's underneath 57 by a hair. But again, you can do the actual math in there. But the 100,000 level, I feel like it's going to be explosive. I'm anticipating if we break it, then there's a high break on Mara up here. So I did miss that last dip into 25. But Bitcoin is making that rally. And it could happen fast, man. Like it's 1,500 away. That can happen on Bitcoin really quickly. So you want to make sure you're monitoring. I have IBIT up and I have Mara up in this current moment. And as we said, MSTR just might not be it. Like it's just not moving here. And the same thing with Coinbase. Someone had asked about Coinbase as well. So I can tell you Coinbase is not doing anything. It's just chilling out underneath VWAP. It was actually at one point down worse than MicroStrategy. It was down over 10%, which is the only reason I took an SSR trade in it and didn't hold it to VWAP. If I hold it to VWAP, then it easily it could have been like 13, 14 bucks instead of 6, 7. But at the moment, everything was looking bearish. I slapped a trail on it when it got to first resistance in here. It did the bottoming, or I guess a bit of a topping tail candle to get me out. Bottoming tails the other way. But yeah, I think you got to find something that is strong in the crypto space. Right now, that's not MicroStrategy. It's not Coinbase. Some of the miners doing a lot better. And then just Bitcoin itself. Keep it really simple. You can always just be in Bitcoin.
Well, that's what I was trying to say before. It's like, why are we even looking at Mara or any of this kind of stuff? Well, we know the relationship with Bitcoin to Bitcoin is 1-to-1. So, I mean, if you think it's going up, you could just buy IBIT and lever that. There's options, things like that are available. We just got out another piece there of NVIDIA as it's trying to dance at these highs again. I still think we break higher, but why not get a piece out? So just got some out at 147.10 there. So good out for us. Very happy with that positioning for us there. But at the end of the day, looking for a little bit more on NVIDIA. Like I said, if I thought 140 was a play, then we might as well, 150 is going to be a play, then we might as well hold for a little bit and see if we can't get that. We're now $6.50 in the money on that one, plus another $3 here on Apple. DJT has kind of gone a little sour, but I don't know. We're still here. So, hey, if it wants to do something, we're here. Here, I know. We got something for that. Where's that thing? Not that one. Do something. All right, so we'll wake it up a little bit there, DJT. Maybe that, sometimes that works. It's not a perfect thing there, that. that little guy. But all right, let's look for something else. All right, Palantir's coming up a little bit on some scanners. Let's go find out why. All right, so probably just bouncing off the 200 period, getting into the 50 period. So just retracing back down. So again, looking for longs. The market's up right now. Palantir would not fit the criteria for a long right now because we're underneath everything. So that means you got to now look for some support areas, and it's been a dangerous game trying to find dips in some of these names, especially ones that are going counter market. We saw Nvidia today really start to tank down and could not find a base. Now, I don't think there's enough news that's going to hit Palantir in the next hour and a half to create an epic fall, but we just bounced off the 200, and I'm not sure we're going to hold the 50. So I would say you'd have to go long $61. So I like that level there for Palantir. If we can get back into that, then we'll look for it. Go ahead, because Nvidia's doing
Just quickly, there's a little bit, it's not a huge pullback, but there's a little bit of a pullback happening here in IBIT. And I do understand, it was put in the chat, that not everybody outside of North America has access to trading IBIT. Someone put it in there. Maybe you don't have access to the ETF. There are other plays in there. I like the miners. They can do outsized moves, and on a day like today, you have to find something that is relatively strong because they're just a mixed bag. But with this breaking down a little bit here on IBIT, if we see VWAP, then I want to be patient and wait for another dip buy. So I put a trail in on Mara, and if we continue, there it is. So I just put a trail in to get out of Mara as we had that breakdown through the 50 period on Bitcoin. If we get back all the way to VWAP, then I want to pick this back up around that 2480 level, because in the time that IBIT had a 20 to 30 cent consolidation, this went 50 pennies up. So it can move a heck of a lot more than Bitcoin at any given moment. Let's go to the desk to Adara.
Just be aware here, we have a bit of an update potentially, or at least reports of an update on the SEC situation. Gary Gensler announcing that he's going to be stepping down as the SEC chair effective January 20th, 2025. So when Donald Trump takes office, I have XRP up here because Ripple getting a nice pop to the upside. This is on the daily chart. XRP is, of course, Ripple was targeted by the SEC under Gary Gensler going back to 2023. So this is one getting a nice rally in response to this. Now we have Charles Gasparino, who is a business reporter who has done some spots here for Fox Business News. So Charles Gasparino, business reporter, saying here that from what he hears, former SEC Commissioner Paul Atkins is set to be in the lead to replace Gary Gensler. And apparently this is a move that would be applauded by members of the digital asset and crypto community. Apparently Paul Atkins is favorable to their causes. So keep an eye here for potential Paul Atkins maybe as this SEC chair. Again, this would be a good look for crypto. Apparently another top candidate is Dan Gallagher, who has worked for Robinhood, but Dan Gallagher has taken himself out of the running apparently. So regardless here, Charles Gasparino reporting that it's likely a pro-crypto or a candidate or someone who's sympathetic to crypto causes is going to take over Gary Gensler's helm there of the SEC, guys.
Yeah, well, one of the rumors was literally the crypto lawyer. So
yeah.
But anybody is better for crypto than Gary Gensler.
I would think so. I mean, I don't know.
I've exaggerated probably a little bit.
Yeah, because under his watch, Bitcoin's gone up about 300%. So, I think, he's
not the biggest fan.
And that's the crazy thing about it. So we'll wait to see. But so I just saw I got out at 124.3 or something like that on Ripple, just a piece out, like probably about half of what I have, maybe a little bit more than that. As you can see, some of these names, and shout out to Nimit in the chat. Congratulations on some good trades that you had as well. But yeah, Bitcoin, I said this last week with Obi. I'm just going to stick with the top 10, 15 coins. That's why I was saying, why don't we get some sort of an ETF wrapped up in here somewhere? But these names are going to start to, really go. If not already, like Solana there, Ethereum, we're starting to get some movements there. Cardano as well, starting to hold that 80-cent mark. And then Dogecoin, right? We haven't talked too much about that. Right now, down 2.2%. So if you want to get something that's maybe going the other way right now, Binance, Doge, and then Shiba Inu. So all those names continue to be the other way. But okay, just a little bit of a brief update there on crypto. Obviously, tonight's market recap show will not be nearly as exciting because it will have me on it, not Neil. But it also won't have any.
It has something to do with NVIDIA.
Yeah, it might have something to do with it. No. We had record viewers because it was yours. I think you should do every market recap show, Neil. I mean, 100%. I think you should do it. I think that's what the people want. You know, the people you guys want Neil to do every single one. If you guys put ones in the chat, man, Neil can do every single one. If you,
I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to give the people. I just want to give the people what they want.
I feel like.
You know, I mean, it's why Joe's here. It's why we've got change up. I mean, we're giving the people what they want. So, anyways, all right. So tonight after hours, look,
Who we got?
Nobody. That's the problem.
Oh.
Raw stores, like literally
You're not
nobody.
into Raw stores?
Nah, not really. I don't know too much about them, but I think that they're a good discounter. So we'll
Gap.
watch out
What
for them.
about Gap?
Yeah, and then Gap. So Gap was the big one for us. That's going to be coming up. We didn't have a time. The problem is the conference call's at 5, which should be fine. We just weren't sure when it was reporting, but Gap will be out there today. Expected move 14%. I mean, that's a monster right there. So we'll definitely take that one and have a look at that. And then I thought Netapp, again, a tech name coming through. And then, we don't have Deere or anything like that. Yeah, Intuit is aftermarket. Yeah, that's the biggest name.
Shout out to John Deere, by the way.
Yeah, John Deere's a nice one.
Freaking Deere.
Yeah, I mean, all these names are really nice.
Like, are you kidding? Like,
That was a Danielle Shea one.
shout out to Danielle Shea. And
It's not Palantir, but it's
look, it's a very different. Like, it's not going to be the type of growth name. I don't think anybody's expecting John Deere to make power moves like Palantir. It's a different type of stock. It's definitely going to be a bit safer for you. But 9 points today, and almost at a breakout of. I mean, look, it's obviously not going to be 52-week highs. Sometimes I don't like that whole. Okay, the 52-week high, just where you happen to end the year. Realistically, if 450 is the level you're concerned with, I don't care what the 52-week high is. 450 is the level you're concerned with on John Deere, even if it's just over 52 weeks. That's just an arbitrary endpoint. And those can get you into trouble. But look at this sucker continue to run. I like CAT, and it's doing a bit of a decent dip buy. But I want to go back over to this IBIT move, because if we do continue, here we're pulling, there we go. We're pulling back, just consolidating off of 56. If it holds here, I'm looking for a view upper trace, and then I'm looking for 25s again here on Mara. If it can hold here, I might just look for a consolidation breakout. If we're going to go back to the top, Mara could just be a breakout story here. So those are the two things that I am watching, Mara and IBIT or Bitcoin. Corey Pat says, look at Rocket Lab. We'll look at that in a second, but I want to also shout out to you. Right here, Epic Strategy. You guys are awesome. Wish I found this channel soon. Well, you found it now. And the best way to help other people find it, hit the like and subscribe and hit the share so you can share it with everybody so we can have the biggest trading community out there. And the best, which we already do, but we always like to make it bigger and better. There is this SKK, which is halting. I see you putting that in there. Yeah, it's halted like a bunch of times. Penny stock. I'm not going to bother counting because it totals it for me. 21 halts on whatever SKK is. And yeah, and this was like $3, then $2.70 and $1.30, and now it's at 89 cents. So yeah, good luck if you're in that one. 21 halts on that bad boy. We'll talk about anything that you guys want us to, but right now I'm just trying to focus on finding the dip buy opportunity here if we make a base and IBIT over in Mara. So we'll see what happens. It is a Bitcoin kind of day. I don't know if we get to the 100,000 today. We have about an hour to go. This is sort of the thing. When you're day trading, another reason why we look at IBIT, when we're day trading, it's just easier to get in and out of the ETF. It trades like a stock. Here at Real Trading, do we have Bitcoin directly? Yeah, we actually have it and we can trade it. We can only go long. We actually can't short it. We can go both directions and it trades just like a stock for us. So all the buying power, all the stuff is exactly what we're accustomed to. That's why we focus on IBIT there. But we'll see what happens here. I would like to see this break back to the upside, and then I can get into some MARA. And then I promised we would look at Rocket Labs, which I don't know if you've looked at the stock in a while.
No, I mean, I had traded it on earnings. That's why I'd known
I
about
flat out haven't. And I mean, look, there's a lot of rocket ships today.
Yeah.
I used to have where is my rocket ship thing? Oh, you know what? It's because it's called Moon.
That's why. There it goes.
That's
a good one for this.
But I should label it Rocket. But anyways, this stock is absurd. And I will cop to not having paid attention to this thing. But yeah, another 10%. Look at its squeeze higher as, what's that, $22.50, I guess. The short float is only 19%. 19% short float. I thought it might have been a little bit bigger than that. But your post-earnings breaking out on what was already a squeeze name. And yeah, they're putting some people to the test here. 22.5, the local high on Rocket Labs. You can see it consolidating in front of the obvious resistance level. So, I mean, usually for a day trade, you want to be trying to go long into it off of those dips. But wow, like there's so many of those charts that look like that. Just understand a squeeze is a squeeze. You know, it can separate the types of trades and stocks. It's not NVIDIA.
No, not every stock is going to be NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a machine. Like, you got to...
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying to Randy. He was like, man, that stock is too crazy for me. I'm like, NVIDIA, just buy and hold. It's like the least crazy stock out of them all. All right, so if you bought and hold this one, you've been getting smoked over the last 6 months or so. But that's ASML. ASML just continues to make moves lower. But I guess I shouldn't say the last 6 months. I mean, back in January, so we're just below yearly lows. Year to date, red is what I'm trying to get at. So it's fine. But again, a name that just saved a little bit today by NVIDIA, it seems like, because again, if the chips are still hot, then ASML is still going to remain there, right? But the problem is they had a bad earnings report, a bad guide, and they've really fallen down. So I want to thank someone in the chat there for asking about have a look at ASML. But honestly, this is one of those names where there's so many better things to be in. Why bother? And that's just, like, I don't mean that sarcastically or anything. It's just you let it work for you. Do not buy. I wouldn't buy the falling knife in here, because the next area of concern is 570, 580. You want to lose another $100? I mean, that's a nice move down. I would wait for it to tell you that this is all garbage. Exactly. So 730. Dip buy opportunity. I mean, wouldn't be a dip buy, but if you wanted to buy this low, I would say it has to correct itself and then just show you that all this stuff underneath this level there was all kind of nothing to fear, right? So I'd like to see it move back up. It might be another, and I don't know when their earnings are, but it might just be their next earnings call where you get some sort of a bump like that back to the upside. I'd rather buy it when we know it's right. You'll always find opportunities. I mean,
that's so weird. I went to type ASML to find the earnings for you, and somehow just typed AMAT.
Yeah, well, AMAT just had a report there as well. It's like the other day when I bought some Uber down here. It's like when it's falling down, we've already bought some at 80 right there. And then when it's falling down, you know, at some point, you got to say, whoa, you know, so we bought some at 72. Then again, yesterday, I think it was 68 and change. We talked about that. And, you know, here, you're falling into some levels, but now the buying has to stop because I already have a position. I like the stock. I like everything about it. But the next area to buy is going to be somewhere in here. So 63 or 64 for Uber. So that's going to be the next area of concern for me on that one. And then the other name that I've recently averaged a little bit in, okay, that's good, was XPI.
Yeah, I can't see an earnings date for ASML. My Trade Ideas doesn't have one. I went to NASDAQ.com and they didn't have it either. So, yeah, not really sure when they report. But
that's a long time from now.
Yeah, like, obviously it'll be in the next cycle. It is what it is. But, like, what I'm looking at, because this is a stock, I think I like it. And I'm looking for something similar to what you just said and similar to what we were looking at for it was Snowflake. Whereas the rounded bottom, I don't know about the 50-period moving average, but it's definitely looking for the rounded bottom. You're still in the process of trying to find the low. And I think once you start making the higher lows, break back out first resistance. So that's what I'd be more interested in here for ASML. Like, obviously, you can't make advanced chips without them. You know, they still had that going on for them. And like the one that I'd buy dips in ARM because it's still a strong stock and it's not a falling knife. But I think when something changes to a falling knife, you've got to change your approach, or you find yourself in Ford trouble. Or I don't know why I keep saying Ford. Tofifi says January 29th of next year.
Yeah, that's what I just wrote there.
Okay, yeah,
and 29th ASML.
Okay, so yeah, a little bit of patience. That's not that far away. It's only a couple months.
Time. Oh, it's a long time, man. It's only November.
I was going to say, to me, it's like 2 months when you're as young as I am is no time at all.
Yeah, 2 months. Yeah, 2 months coming up there. So, all right. What to look at? DJ, okay, so, just looking right now, basically a wash trade right now, DJT, but we were going to give this, oh man, see, this has just been lazy here. It's the 50 period's already broken it, so it's already, we had set this down here at 30.50 where the 50 period was for DJT, so unfortunately right here, well, we could try a little bit more to average in, because it did hold that, but we were initially using the 50 period, and we would have stopped out already had you been on that, so if you're on that 50 period moving average, maybe you are potentially stopped out, but I was waiting for 30.50. So just as an update there, we are not out of DJT. Walmart falling back in. Again, we were waiting at 46s. Maybe now we can put an offer at 30 and just get that in and out and just not worry about it. Again, it's a 5% position for us on Walmart, so we can even just put a piece out right now and see if we can get out of that one. Our new holdings, like 44s, okay. It's a decent bit there. Put some gas in our car on this trade, but it's not, and again, we have the ability to use unlimited, really, amount of shares. So at the end of the day, everybody will just continue to trade whatever amount of shares they want. And this is just one of those positions where it's not anything too sexy, but still, take 4 or 5 pennies. Might be worth it.
Another good point there.
For some of you, sure.
As to why ETFs get traded over other things, real trading. Because if you're an equity trader, then your buying power and risk for an ETF is going to be the same as equities, whereas it's separate risk for futures trading. So if you wanted to trade Bitcoin future, if you wanted to trade even like CME or anything like that, then it's a separate risk. So for most traders, if you've built up buying power and you've built up risk in equities, you're going to go to the ETF over trading something else. So you're still in this falling pattern here in Mara. So again, I'm not seeing a reason to get in on this bid yet. It's gotten into the target area, but it's still falling. I want to see consolidations or some kind of a dip, or show me some green candles where we can get into it. The other thing that's happening is MSTR just continues to fade. It's now down over 10%. It just hit, of course it hit 420, because where else would it have gone to? Just trying to bounce off the 420 level, now down 11% and still bleeding. So maybe this it could be dragging some things down with it. Obviously, IBIT is still pulling back and has a ways to go to VWAP. So it was right to get out of Mara, but I don't want to rush back in. Whoa, that Mara just accelerated too. So Mara's continuing to accelerate. Right to get out when IBIT was showing us we were losing the trend a bit. But I wasn't looking short, so it is what it is. I'm not going to be in position unless we bounce off this VWAP or show some kind of strength. You're starting to really accelerate to the downside here. There was a question about Nike in the chat, so wow, this is really accelerating. There was a question about Nike in the chat. When is it a good time to get into Nike? I feel like everything that just got said about ASML or any of these falling knife type of stocks, it's not as extreme with Nike, but how about we actually catch a bid and start trending back higher? It's still downward trending. It's still under the 50-period moving average. It's still got all of the China risk. So I just feel like to me, it's never the time here for myself. If it's a stock that I am absolutely in love with fundamentally, and it gets to a support level, sign me up. Sometimes you just want to load the boat. I don't feel that way about Nike. When the world's in a panic and you do the COVID type of lows, those are a different story. This is just trending back in toward the COVID lows. I would think that the COVID lows could be that kind of a level down at $60. But what's crazy is I remember when we were doing the show and trading Nike at these prices, and the fact that it's back here is a little jarring.
All right, yeah, I've sold some Nike. I sold Nike on that bump up of their new CEO, so we are out of that name. All right, so DJT, just to let you guys know, we did get a little bit of reloaded action right there on DJT, so we'll see where it goes. Now MicroStrategy apparently on the move as well, going a little bit lower. So we're long right now at 85. We could put out maybe 20% up here at O's if it comes back upside, and then we'll put a little bit more out. What is this level right there at the 50-period 20s or so. So we'll put another little piece out around 15s if we can get that. But we reloaded a little bit there on DJT, so we'll figure that all out. Bitcoin right now, Neil just talked about it, but it is starting to fall back in pretty. I don't want to say violently, because I don't think this is ever a violent move at all. But MSTR, yes, thank you for the super chat rate in there. It is now SSR. So you are right about that one. Thank you for that super chat. It's turned SSR right now. So the Bitcoin chart that we have to make a little bit bigger right now. So 30-minute chart, are you worried about any sort of a pullback right here on a 30-minute chart? No, you are not. But if you zoom in, though, it is coming back. So let's do this to a 5-minute, give ourselves a little bit of look here that we can maybe find an area to buy it. 97.2, 97.3, something like that coming into play. That's 90. Wow. Okay. I didn't realize that we were just here at noon, 95. We just ramped $4,000 right there in 3 hours. So that was like a 4% move in Bitcoin. Obviously, that's not a huge move, but nice move, not needless to say, on BTC. So yeah, I think we could get a nice pullback. So that pullback would be about 97.3. So the 5-minute on Bitcoin looks half decent. So if we go over now, well, first of all, if you go to MSTR, you're not going to find any levels. So I'm not really going to chart this. It's dropping on its own news. It's not doing anything with
it's a
Bitcoin.
different story.
Obviously, if Bitcoin was over 100,000, this would probably catch some love higher, right? But at the end of the day, it is falling back in now. So MSTR, I would think this is a gap open there from the 19th. So that this could be a level where we could find some support. Unfortunately, that's 395 on MSTR. So I always like to look at closing prints and things like that. And then just because you guys mentioned IBIT and I sort of zoomed it back out, here's that same 5-minute chart. So that would be down here again at the low. What a good move that would be. Down to 54.5. So that's the 200 period there on IBIT. So I would say that's a good little level there, 54.8, something like that. So we'll keep our eye on that. If that gets near 97, then we'll flip it over and go over to IBIT and have a quick look. See what's going on over there. But yeah, so far so good. Good outs there. Oh, wow, we got a 148. That's a face slapper right there. That's a $7 winner right there on NVIDIA. So nice move there to get some out on that one as we get lighter and lighter all over the place. Nubank, DJT, Walmart, NVIDIA. I'm long everything. As long as this market stays where it is, I'm pretty happy with that overall position. So. Out of NNE, good job there. I know that was ripping up today.
NNE, baby. Oh, yeah. It didn't drag SMR far enough, though. 32% for NNE. But before we get to that, I want to talk about that. And I have to make an acknowledgement about Nike because I assumed that the question was long-term on Nike and completely did not acknowledge that Nike is booming today. Nike's having a fantastic day today. I assume we're talking long-term, so I was pulling up a daily charts and weekly charts like we usually do. But here's a first look at a bounce on. So here's IBIT. It goes into this support. It's 55.80, but Sean just has the chart up. You guys know where I'm looking at IBIT. So it's making a bounce, and we started bouncing off VWAP on Mars. So I took a shot at it, but I do not like the fact that you are still trending down. It almost feels like this is getting dragged alongside of its outside move up, but then it can also do it to the downside. MSTR going down, Coinbase also going down. Underneath the local bottom, I will jump out of this trade. But I did want to acknowledge you're obviously seeing a good move in Nike today, and it's not I wasn't trying to harp on the stock. I was simply saying long term, this is a drop in the bucket. But yeah, it's a beast today. It's up 3%. I might have said 5. No, 3%. 73 to 75. So it's a great look on the day. And even on the 15-minute, now you're back above, a bit of a gap fill at the 75 level. And it's got some potential continuation going into the close. So yeah, Nike's doing fantastic today. It's just that daily chart. I think the daily chart speaks for itself. But yeah, it's one of the better stocks today if you happen to be long. Let's go to the desk with Adara.
This part of the show is brought to you by Military Metals. Donald J. Trump, during his first presidency, emphasized that a strong America must not depend on foreign adversaries for critical minerals essential to our nation's economic and military strength in the 21st century. Aligning with this vision, Military Metals is emerging as a global powerhouse in the antimony space, crucial for defense and military applications. With past producing assets in the U.S., Canada, and Europe, Military Metals is poised to secure these vital resources domestically. Don't wait too long because this story is heating up fast.
So just to show you guys, there was 500,000 shares on the bid at 24.45 on Mara, which was the local bottom. That's where my stop was. 500,000 shares, one shot. That was a good snap. One shot, they took it out. You're bleeding now. And for anyone that's saying, where is the bottom going to be on like some of the adjacent names, MSTR is a falling knife.
I just gave that bottom
at this point. Like it's got 411. Like don't get me wrong. Like you can always pull up a chart and sort of see like the mid 380s. I think looks like a little bit of something, but it's a falling rock and it's not alone. Coinbase just accelerated back through 300. The 290 level. This is the area that I liked on Coin. Coin's a little different. Like Coinbase dropped hard into 290 the other day and did a huge recovery. So at least you've got confirmation that there's some buyers down here on Coinbase at the 290 level. I don't know if you've got that same thing on some of those levels on SMCI, or not SMCI, on MSTR. You don't know until you get down there. So I'm just going to be patient. If it's going to be a bounce play, it's got to be somewhere at the 290 level. But that rollover, it gets heavy. That's why you got to have those quick outs. And it's one of those today. I feel like what has ended up working for me is win, lose, or draw. Try to keep the stops tight. Try to keep it tight and stay away from these types of hits. on something like Amara. Like, it's pretty clear if it's going to bounce off VWAP, let it work. And if it's not going to, you do not have to fight it, because look at that sucker head to that downside. Sometimes your best trade is getting out of something that's not working.
Yeah, that is for sure. Yeah, we always try to assess the risk as much as possible. And I think today that would be a good example because it saved you a lot if you were able. Oh, first of all, there it is. So DJT does not work, so we get out of that one. So again, the cup of coffee that we make on new holdings, we'll give back on DJT, literally. So that's kind of a wash there. Not much happening in that spot. Nothing happening with new. NVIDIA, we took another out right there. I mean, face slapper, of course, to that side of things there with NVIDIA now trying to get. I mean, you guys asked about 170. I said we could probably get to 150 today. We were talking about that at the beginning of the show. So that's 146 up to 148. That's $2 straight up off VWAP and still continuously moving higher goes NVDA on its earnings day. So congratulations, everybody that's been long NVIDIA today. A decent day. I mean, only up 1.35%, but it's better than being down. So you got.
You got to consider it was down
coming in. All right, let's have a look at Tesla. Yeah, it was a good move there on NVIDIA. That is for sure today. But again, just back and forth. Again, the options get absolutely squashed because we did not have that big implied move that we were hoping for on NVIDIA. All right, so Tesla right there, 340, good little holding level there. We'll see 339 coming into play. That could be a stop and go area right there, especially if these futures do come back in a little bit. Like yesterday, they ramped up into the close. So if that's going to happen right here, we are very, very close to breaking through this high of 20,000. I mean, remember earlier today, what levels did we say the futures were going to bounce off at? 20,500. It went to 20,514 right there before a huge bounce back up. So what a monster play there on the futures and to be able to hold. That's why we have 350 in the money right now on Apple. And we've been getting more and more out on this one as it continues to climb higher. So 350 there, 650 here. 350, 650, that's $11. Oh, there goes Walmart, by the way. That's a face slapper there as we continue to go a little bit higher on Walmart. And then we'll just see where we can go. But out there at 20s now, or 25s, now it's all the way back up. Maybe we get out at the high of the day, 88.60 for that name. Roblox got hit with a report a little bit today, breaking back down below 50. So I was just going to say, watch out for potentially this name pulling back even more now because that's broken this shelf of 50.
Like a short seller?
So, yeah, there was some sort of a short seller report, I think, today. I don't know exactly what it was. We'll talk about it on the recap show, though I saw it on the notes. 48, 49, 50 breaking a little bit there. So it's been a huge run up. Probably a good idea to get something out now as you're trying to break a little bit lower. But again, that ultimate top of 48, 49 coming into play maybe on Roblox. So watch out for that one. And then a big runner that we're still in. I mean, I'm really impressed with how well this name has really come back. And that's Disney, man. I mean, Disney again today. Let's go. Let's fire off the hot dog cannon a little bit here as Disney just continues to climb higher. We didn't sell anything out here down at the downside. We also did not buy any, but it is making a move back higher right now. And it's just bouncing its head off this 117. So I'll probably go in there tonight a little bit as NVIDIA is now getting to $7 in the money as this is trying to potentially break out through 117. So we're going to have to, we're going to have to watch out for that one on Disney there, 117 area. So that getting close. So I'll probably get a little bit more out of Disney, but again, just another diversified play. I'm so heavy into the long tech names that's been a good one. All right, what's going on in Dara?
Just for that mention of Roblox there, it's worth noting in case anyone missed it. This happened, it kind of came and went during the midday around 12 p.m. Roblox there did get a little bit of a catalyst. I'm going to switch to the, there we go, the 3 and 5 minute chart. We've got this move down here on the 5 minute chart, basically. Hunterbrook here, which is also a short seller, reporting that after those short reports from Hindenburg Research and the Bear Cave, apparently there's some evidence here that the SEC has engaged in, quote, investigative matters and this undisclosed probe into Roblox. Also, apparently the FTC has also been investigating Roblox. This is according to regulatory filings. The company denied multiple requests for comment. So we're not really sure what's going on here. But yeah, Hunterbrook Research reporting that there's or at least some evidence here from filings of some probes into RBLX from SEC and the FTC, guys.
Okay, I mean that case for that short seller case we've seen before with that. Like I pulled up that headline, like the story, I clicked on it, and I was like, I swear I've seen this exact headline and wording months ago. But I guess the new thing is the SEC involvement, I suppose. So yeah, we'll see about Roblox. I think usually what you want to do when you use a short seller report or a story like that is if it makes a double bottom after the push down, then you want to give it a chance to make a bounce play. I remember when Square did that, it was a great trade. It was like 58 bucks. I think I actually have it on the chart. So I'll show it in a second. But I did take NVIDIA on the break. But like everything in the afternoons, if it doesn't go right away, and it's not going right away, I'm not going to give it a wide berth. I'm going to give it to prior bar low, which is like 147.60-ish, 147.60-ish, I should say. And if it can't break, if it can't hold that, then I want to get out of Dodge. I'm offering out in front of that $0.50. So if it's going to make the break, it's got to start working now. The futures are pretty sideways this afternoon. So if it makes the breakaway, you do have some overhead resistance at that $0.50. And then once you break through that, I want to hold on to half the position for a run into 149 and then 150 ideally. But just regards with Roblox, I just wanted to finish the thought on NVIDIA because we just got in on that break trade. Again, it already made a low, so you can already call $48 a bit of a bottom on the story, and it's down 5%. Now you just want to see, can it hold on to that level? I mean, if it holds 48, if it holds above 48 or a higher low tomorrow, and then maybe you open with one on Monday, I like the relief rally. And I remember Square did a very similar thing. I don't remember what short seller it was, but that second day, it double bottomed and then broke out the top, and it was like the easiest trade ever, or I should say block. This was probably a year or two ago, to be honest with you. But I'd look for that same setup on Roblox. You know how they do. The idea is to get exit liquidity on these positions, so they got to cover the short somewhere. And if it starts holding a support level, then usually the shorts want to make sure they're getting something out. So that's what I think can happen on Roblox. Only 5% down. I've seen way worse than that on a short seller report. Not even SSR. If it had gone 10% down, I think that would.
Like it's that bad, right?
10% down's like if it's a stock you like, then I want to trade it that day because you want to look for the SSR bounce. But I don't know if it was even spicy enough today. 5 points isn't that much.
Well, I mean, yeah, good trade if you got it, but again, maybe a harder one to get there today. Roblox. So okay, we got a 45 on new holdings. Puff pass on that one. Not much going on there, to be honest with you. That Disney we just talked about. I'm just trying to find names that are coming up on the scanner here. We do have a nice little hot list read here. We can look at, maybe some of those quantum names have been pretty good lately as well. QB, QUTM. Okay, so there's MSTR. That's really starting to rock and roll again right now. We can have a look at some of these charts. So MSTR fading back in right now. Yeah, nice move. Okay, it's trying to bounce off of 418 right now. MSTR looking like it's trying to get some life back into it. SMCI, that's a big one. It's trying to take down 30, right? So 2980 right there. SMCI looking like a nice little take through 30. That's 3017. It's wicked a little bit higher. So that's kind of the problem with using big shares is it's already been up here and kind of rejected before. I don't want to go short this name. It's up 15%, so we could probably stay away from SMCI, but it is a nice move there. I actually like the long break on that one. NVIDIA going nuts as per usual, trying to break out the highs. And oh boy, this has been a face slapper right there on NVIDIA today. That is for sure. IBIT right there on a little bit of a run now, as you can see, bouncing. It did not get to the VWAP there. It bounces off 55.75, a nice clean 50-period move back higher now on IBIT, which of course is Bitcoin, gets as low as like 97.8 there maybe, I think we were looking at it there. Okay, so of course Mara probably reacting a little bit on that
Coin
as well as Coinbase. I just got filled on something. No, I did not. New holdings just trying to go back up. Right there, so Mara's trying to go. Mara bouncing nicely off the 200 period moving average there of 23.70. Now that's up $1. That would have been a good one to look at too. Snowflake, of course, the bell of the ball there. I haven't sold anything, but Snowflake just continues to go upside there. 170, trying to pull back, but look, a VWAP hold might be nice. 168. So if we can get a little pullback into that, maybe that could be something. And then of course Google, trying to make it back, man. Trying to make it back. Nice little battle here at 167. I actually like a 167 break there on Google. Maybe we might have found something there. Go have a look, and we'll see if we can trade some Google. But yeah, just a little look on what's been moving around as we always look at the same names. So $4 in the money, $7 in the money on NVIDIA, $3.50 on Apple, 5 cents on NU, 50 cents on Walmart. So a couple wins there. And yeah, let's see if this continues to go higher.
Yeah, there was the bounce on coin was just $3 with MSTR catching a bit of a bid, but not to dissuade anybody. MSTR it was up $14, let's call it, from the bottom, and then just dropped another 7 back in there. So there was a bounce on coin. There was also a bounce back through VWAP on Mara. That said, I mean, look, I was long here, 24 mid-50s. Where like that broke $24. Like if you hold on to it, it would just be break even right now. So like it wouldn't, like that's really no good. And MSTR hasn't necessarily broken the trend. So I'm not feeling like this reprieve is over. But what has happened is NVIDIA has a seller there was a refresher this time at 148 when it tried to break back through. So it's still putting in some higher lows, but there's a refresher in there. And if it continues to hold that, then I'm going to trim some if it does a bit of a fail break here above the 110, just like 20%, and then we'll see if it can make that move higher. But just be careful with these bounce plays. Like if you think you've got a bottom in MicroStrategy, it's almost back at the lows again. Couple of green candles, and then right back to what it was doing before. So it's not healthy whatsoever. Square looking good. I just saw Garrett Hayden. Yeah, like look elsewhere, man.
Garrett Hayden.
Like in the chat, it's like this is what you should be doing. If you're staring down MSTR because you want to buy something in the crypto space, there are a million things, or adjacent, there are a million things you could be playing. High of the day on block. You know, I mean, Mara was at VWAP. It's no longer there anymore. IBIT's not. I mean, it almost got to VWAP. Unfortunately, it didn't quite pull all the way down in there, but you can just buy that instead. Like MicroStrategy is just nasty. Head to the downside. Altstyles was trading MTSZ, which is the 2 times inverse. Yeah, I mean, or you can just go into MicroStrategy in general and go in the right direction. That's another way to be able to play it too. So the new trade for me, like I said, was NVIDIA. The refresher that was just above the 148 looks like they relieved some pressure in there, and it's starting to go higher. Just want to remind, there was this, here I'll zoom out so you can see, the bounce off 145 this morning, got to VWAP, and hard right turn at 148.5. So I got an offer out in front of 148.5. I think if you clear 148.5, you've got room to at least retest to the 150 level. Ideally, I think you want 150 to go today so that you're not staring it down on a Friday. Because if you're staring it down on a Friday, I'm skeptical about how far it'll go past 150 if it has to get through it tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll give a little bit of props. That's the other thing, overnight. Like, you got to watch out for some of these trades because you never know what's going to go bump in the night. All right, so we just get some out at 47. Oh, wow. All right. Well, that was a good trade there. I was like, I'm actually waiting at 50s to get out of almost all of this new holdings because it's the move, right? I mean, we get the bottom there right back to the 200 period. So that's the trade. So, I mean, get some glizzies? I don't know. I mean, it's a nice move there. We'll do that. Buy yourself a couple of those and wolf them down.
You gotta eat more than a couple.
You need more than a couple glizzies? Yeah, that's hot dogs are called that. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you get one hot dog is not.
Like if you're
It's been a
talking
minute since we had hot dogs.
like if you're talking a foot long, like that's a different, or like an actual sausage.
Yeah.
Like a real sausage. That's
I don't know, man. Everyone loves those Costco ones, man.
But like those regular hot dogs, like come on, man. If you're a grown ass man, if you're a grown person, not even
Grown
say it
ass
that
man,
way.
yeah.
Why? That is what I meant to say.
Yeah, that is what you said.
I'll eat like 4 or 5.
I think you're fine
I'm a
saying
grown
that.
ass man. I got when they have dollar hot dogs at the Dome.
Yeah,
as
man,
I've said,
that's where it goes nuts.
if you're ever in Toronto when they do dollar hot dogs at a Jays game, hot dog and a beer is a great thing. Just go early, and before the game starts, pick up your 5 or 6 hot dogs then. You don't want to be in line during the game when they do nonsense like that. And the beer lines are crazy those days. NVIDIA just got to 40s and did a little bit of a pullback. I'm still zoomed out, but I want to show that 148.5 level. So it's still clawing to the upside, but it's not really, like it's not going, there's no mean crazy happening. It's just a nice, steady climb while the futures do the same. Like this is the futures just now, the NASDAQ breaking through afternoon highs, not the high in the day, but the afternoon resistance is now gone on the NASDAQ. The daily high is, I don't know, like 20 handles away or something like that, and we have a decent chance to get there. because really the Bitcoin, any of these Bitcoin names that are coming down, so like MSTR, that's not doing anything to the NASDAQ, right? So it doesn't matter how much that bleeds, although I suppose there would be a critical mass point at some point. But remember what we just said about MSTR? NVIDIA is going to continue to go, but MSTR, if you try to buy that dip, you were $14 in the money, and now it's just broken a fresh low. It wants 400, it wants lower. Again, I don't think this is one you want to catch a falling knife for. Great shout out in the chat looking at something like a Square instead, or just IBIT in general, or just BTC in general.
You did have Josh Brown come out. First of all,
What'd he say?
now $7 in the money. This is the Josh Brown pump of Square. So there it is right there. So it just came out. You had a lot of volume hitting up on that. So there's the move up.
I should sell.
So Josh probably sold most of it at 94-ish. So now it'll probably come back in. So we'll wait to see what happens here. $93 for Square. We talked about this yesterday. Like, I was just so impressed with how much this stock has run. So what a great level there. But if you zoom back out, I mean, this was a $350, $400 name, I believe. So we'll see. Oh, wow. How high that goes up.
Oh, it's back through the COVID breakout prices.
Right now, Worksport, yeah, 58 cents. So someone in the chat there wanted to look at that. So not moving around too much, but up 16% today, WKSB. So a good little look there for you guys. And then we had looked at Tesla as well. And I'd sort of made a couple comments there that I'd like to see it get into this level before we buy it. 340 again, so it is coming into that. The only thing is, market's up 0.6, Tesla's down.
Ooh.
So this market turns around, you're definitely not going to want to be long this name. It's a matter of what you think about those levels. I think down there at 340, this is a buy and probably worth it. What's up, Adara?
Rumble's trading here at high of day, up about 7% here for RUM, which does have a 20.5% short float. So you can see here, we got a little bit of a volume spike on that 15-minute chart. As we get that push into today's highs, we have CEO Chris Pavlovsky tweeting that the company's new era is set to begin, and they actually have a big new creator to announce. So Rumble CEO teasing some new announcements and new eras for the company. RUM sharply to the upside, guys.
All right.
Rumble, young man, rumble.
I mean, it's all about the Bitcoin.
It's all about that Bitcoin. But if you're,
SPCE.
Rumble, young man, rumble. The first thing that came to my mind was Netflix because of that live. Netflix, I'm mad at Netflix today because Netflix should have held $900.
That high? Oh,
Pissed off, man. Should have held $900 today. Relative strength. It's on a bender right now. 60 million people watching the Jake Paul. You can call it the Jake Paul Tyson fight. Like anybody that watched it, if you're a fan of boxing, what an unbelievable undercard they had, especially that women's fight. That's one of the best boxing matches.
And
I've
thank
seen
you to
in a long
Jake
time.
Paul for that.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like this is.
The guy's literally changing the game for boxing.
I wouldn't have.
He's changing the game for females. It's amazing. This.
I think. I mean, it is what it is. Like.
It's amazing. Thank you, Jake, for doing what you're doing for boxing. Honestly, it's about time that this is finally
Because it's
people are watching.
It's been a bad sport.
Again.
My only problem with it is some of the old issues that boxing has had weren't fixed by the Jake Paul thing, like the judging.
Oh,
That's my only thing. Like getting eyeballs on quality fighting, I was so happy with that. But the simple fact that once again, questionable judging is right back into boxing. It is what it is. That's just my personal, because I love boxing, and you know, it's a beautiful sport, and I love it. And the other thing that happened, I don't know if you saw this because you're not a track guy, but I something speed. I forget his name. Mr. Beast. Was doing a thing with something speed where he raced Noah Lyles.
Yeah. And he raced Jake Paul too before.
And so here's my thing. Noah Lyles, the fastest man. Well, maybe he's the fastest man in the world, depending on who you ask. He wins $100,000 for that. Now, obviously, he's the fastest man, so that's a good purse for him. But there isn't a single Diamond League champion in the sport or a gold medalist in any country that gets that kind of a purse for winning.
Right.
And so it's fantastic for track. That's what social media can bring. And that dude's fast, man. Like he's pretty legit. Like he was with him at the start. He seems to think he can run in the Olympics the next time. That can't happen. There's almost no chance he would make the team for 100. He's got good 50, 60 speed. I think the guy should focus on the 60 and try and do some indoor stuff in the 60 because he's got a great start. But I love seeing stuff like that, man. They just get it out to the masses, especially when you're a fan of the sport.
Yeah, I mean,
you just want to see
right?
bigger and better. UFC's been taking everybody's lunch. So.
All right. So, we were able to make a little bit of money on that as well, that Jake Paul fight. So that was pretty good. Okay, so
What did you bet?
Just waiting to see. Everything's kind of just doing its own thing. New holdings again, right back. I didn't even realize it dripped down into VWAP again. You could have got long again right there. We didn't do it, but you could have. And now you're right back to the 200 period. So we'll debate getting some more out. I'm still waiting for 50, but look at this market, man. I mean, it did take out that high. So right now you're just kind of hovering around there. Not a dangerous spot or anything, but you want to, you'd rather be, I don't know, a little bit lower to buy a dip in this, but just kind of hanging out at highs. We have imbalances coming out very, very soon. Okay, I got back into DJT here just because of reasons. I mean, it fell into VWAP, so it's held it. It's been a little trade here for this name today on VWAP. I mean, we were underneath, broke, held again, right back in on this move. So we're not up or down anything. We're down a couple cups of coffee maybe. Made that back hopefully in this new, as long as we get out if we wanted to. But I'm going to try to hold this against 30 bucks. We talked about this yesterday on DJT, and it's like, is it actually forming a base here and starting to, maybe get going? But again, that base has to be bought down at like 26, 27. I don't think buying this name at $30 is necessarily a good idea for the long term, but if you're averaging it into that level, again, you're hoping that you come in one day and you hear a story and DJT has popped like ridiculous amounts to the upside. But the story's already over. You got, he's now going to be the president as of Jan 20th, and we'll just see what happens now with the Truth Social. Apparently today, this little spike up there was on crypto on that backed, and that they were going to start taking payments in the crypto space called TruthFi. So, like DeFi there, WonderFi, all the FIs. And right now it is getting denied, though, back into VWAP. So we'll have to wait. Not too many huge, you could do the Donald J. Trump dance. That's hilarious. Everybody in the NFL is doing that. That's great to see as well. All right, so that's it for me right now on those kind of a plays.
Just I got to give one update because
go.
I'm moving the stop on NVIDIA. So NVIDIA got to remember that first resistance at 148.5? So it's gotten there a couple times now. And it's now double tapped up there. And then if you look at the trend since the last dip, I'm talking about since in the 147, like it violated that trend line. So I took another leg out, only into 40%, and I tightened the stop up. So the stop goes from underneath the 60 to now underneath this 85 level. So tightening up the stop a little bit because it's just not going, and we've broken like the short-term trend back in. It's also 320, and so obviously there's not as much time for it to go. I see a lot of people talking about SMCI, saying it failed again at 30. SMCI at 30 bucks. Wow. But like what this could do in terms of if it's able to hold a bit above 30. I mean, it's a little late in the day and the market's not doing much, but like this is a pretty decent sized gap fill. You go 30, you've got 33, and then from there you're looking at like $36 to $38 after that huge flush on SMCI. It's a little bit late for a parabolic break on this, but it does look really good. I wish it was SSR 3 days in a row. It's not going to be SSR tomorrow, but I'm favoring longs in this until it does something a little bit more drastic to the downside, because now that it's on a bit of an upward trend, or unless you get news. If negative news comes out again, ignore everything I say about wanting to be long the stock. But I like this potential gap fill above the $30 level. Ideally, that break we can take tomorrow as opposed to trying to work something here when it's not doing much of anything. And shout out to everyone in the chat that's throwing out back in the heyday of boxing. Like, I wish that as many people that saw that Jake Paul fight could see Hagler versus Hearns, which is like the greatest fight of all time, in my opinion. Two guys were just throwing haymakers the whole time. Let's go over to the desk with Adara.
One other thing here, moving today, we have HIMS getting a bit of a volume pop here as we continue through Power Hour. Hims and Hers Health, I'm not seeing any news as of right now, but earlier today, this is another midday catalyst around the noon hour, announced that they're launching this meal replacement bars and shakes to enhance their existing weight loss plans. This program is going to be existing here for $110 a month. So HIMS earlier today announcing that they're launching a meal replacement program. They're up about 9% at day's highs here, trying to take out yesterday's resistance around that 23.75 level with a short float of 19.3%, guys.
Crazy, 700 different. What's flushing down there?
MSTR 390.
Yeah, that was that level I was talking about, 390 to 394.
Yeah, there's
There's no point in trading it.
No, I mean,
Unless
at this
you're
point,
short.
everyone's going down there. Like, it just keeps saying MSTR, LOL, and there's all kinds of stuff. So there hasn't been, on a 15-minute chart, there hasn't been a green candle since 1:15. 1:15. Yeah, actually, I had to double check that myself. I'm like, really? Not 2 o'clock? No, there isn't even a green on this. It's just absolutely bleeding to the downside. So good luck to anybody that's in it. You really just have to be short, or you can be long the inverse, which I already forget the symbol of, but you could be long the inverse. Bitcoin, remember, Bitcoin's not doing this. You know, you actually dipped. Unfortunately, not quite the VWAP, but you got a dip. You're back above 98,000. I don't know if we're going to get the breakout of 100,000 today. Maybe it's just going to be a tomorrow type thing. But as I mentioned, the only update for myself was tightening up the stop on NVIDIA because it broke this little trend line, so I took another leg out, and then I'm tightening up the stop. I feel like if it breaks the trend, you could have a pullback all the way to 147 or to VWAP, especially at the end of the day.
Do I sell calls on Palantir? No, I don't do any of that stuff. I'm not smart enough to do anything like that. I just keep on watching these things climb higher and higher and higher and try to get out at different spots. I mean, we've been raising some capital in some of these names and then putting it to work in other spaces. But for Palantir, like, we're so into this name down here. Like, it's like, for sure, a 5-bagger. I mean, it's huge. And not even to say, like, it's not even... Like, I'm only saying we're up 5x on this name because we've been talking about it since down here. So it's not, it's gone now. You need to have some winners in your account, right? You need to have, like, for all the bad plays that are made. Like, we talk about, I don't know, there's many names on there that have continued to go lower. We talk about some of the marijuana plays and different names that people take shots at. At the end of the day, you know, you got to have some of these to rebalance it out. And you just hope that the story that you believe in, you actually have shares on and you can let it continue to go. I mean, I was showing that to Randy, and I mean, a year ago, NVIDIA was $48 or something like that. And now today you're at $148, and we're talking about, you know, is it going to go higher? Well, I mean, it's like you're either in it or you're not. And for me on Palantir, probably worth selling it because of the volatility and the cash you can collect. It does seem like it is slowing down a little bit right here. I just don't want to get called away from anything. I still think this name can really get going. And yeah, I don't, the amount of money that I would make on calls or writing those calls or whatever it is, to me, what I would forego in this stock going higher, it's probably not worth it.
You got to be okay with it being called away at that price. Like, if it's a buy and hold and I never want to sell it, then to me, I don't want to be in covered calls. Like, right. I've used them before, but I'll tell you the last time I sold covered calls, it was when I had Intel, and like, okay, well, I was perfectly happy with the 25 bounce if they got called away. When it tagged 4, I'm like, okay, well then I don't mind losing those shares because it's Intel, not NVIDIA. Right. So that's a different story, because then that way if it bleeds, you know, it's not as good of a stock. You're getting at least a little something out of it, but you don't mind losing them. Now I don't see just a continuation for Adara here. HIMS is still going higher, so 10 points to the upside. This could be worth watching. It's got a head and shoulders for anyone that's into those types of patterns on the daily chart here. We're $25. There's your shoulder and potentially another one coming in. So 25 looks like a pretty big zone. It's already dipped back into it. Okay, of course, now that I say that, it's pulling back into 24, but 25 could be a big break, especially for tomorrow on HIMS. This is one I think to keep an eye on for tomorrow. Obviously an optional level at 25, 19% short float. And it's continuing to go. But then the second I said, hey, it's going again, it pulled right back underneath the 24 level. So it is looking pretty squeezable. SMCI, what are you doing? Is that going to hold? Now it's actually starting to go. SMCI could break out the high here. Yeah, 30.50 is about to go on SMCI. What? I think it's, $30.50 is going to go on SMIC. SMCI. I almost called it what Adara calls it. But I stopped myself.
Yeah, probably a good idea. All right, so here goes $30. We're going to see what winds up happening right here through 30.50. I'm long right now. We're going to try it here. I mean, we do have VWAP down here, or sorry, the 200 and the 50 period down there. So if it does fade, then, you know, we can get out there. We'll try reload at $30 flat if that does come in. Just a small little sample size here on that play. Oh, we did get out DJT, I think is, no, it's not running there. Apple. Okay, so there it is. So we do get out of some more Apple right there, 350 in the money. We take another piece out on that one. Nubank. All right, so more outs up there. The net is going higher here, but it's not really doing anything. SMCI coming back in, DJT holding. So yeah, not really much happening. We're just going to have to wait to see if there's any sort of a call to action here on SMCIs. It's going to break through 330. Sorry, it is at 30.30 right now. The time is 3:30, and we could get a break right now of that high. I'm going to be buying back into here. I put a bid down here on SMCI at 30.20. Where did that went down to?
By the way, NU has a buy and balance.
21s. Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. We'll hold that NU for now. That's funny. We were reloaded this at 30.21s. That's the price it went down to. We're at 30.20 there for that reload. Wow. That's pretty funny stuff right there. Okay, anyways, needless to say, I guess it's only funny to me, but we'll wait to see now what winds up happening with this Nubank here with that buy and balance. That's kind of interesting to see. We'll see if it does anything on that one.
Before we go to Adara?
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Before we go to Adara, like I'm buying the dips in SMCI as well. I like it. But NU 1.2 million early look sell and balance, and this MRO has a 6 million sell and balance. I just double checked. I don't see an index action on it, but I don't. There could be one, certainly, on MRO. 6 million shares is rather large, obviously. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll keep an eye on NU. And then we'll update you as those go. That's what we do here live. When the imbalances come at 350, they could be the same. They could be bigger. You absolutely do not know. But I do believe we need to go over to Adara, see what other sectors are banging. I know energy's doing well.
Boom.
We're going to look at the larger upside and downside movers here in the S&P 500. What I wanted to do was take a look at 3 sectors that are sharply up on the day or have a lot of components that are sharply up on the day and talk about what's moving some of these names. So I'm going to start us off here with this producer manufacturing sector. Of course, John Deere here, DE to the upside with earnings, though a bit of a rounded top coming to the downside as of right now. Still up about 7% though, despite a pretty mixed report. They did beat on EPS and had a nice sales beat. Those sales were actually down about 28% on a year-over-year basis. They also said they expect their farm fundamentals to remain, quote, depressed in 2025. So a bit of a mixed report, but traders responding positively, at least on day one for DE and for all these producer manufacturing names. AMAT also to the upside. Then we have Goldman Sachs here, GS up about 3%. A lot of these banks to the upside, JPM as well, pretty strong here. Goldman Sachs getting a $100 price target increase from $485 to $585 today from Citigroup. But a lot of these names have been strong due to the Trump trade since the election a couple weeks ago. And last but not least, we have INTU. INTU to the upside. We have CrowdStrike. Intuit also worth noting because they're actually reporting tonight. But a lot of these names in that cybersecurity and cloud space, specifically in that technology services sector, struck sharply to the upside in sympathy with Snowflake earnings, which had SNOW up about 30% plus at its highs. PANW also reported. So we have a lot of these cloud and cybersecurity earnings on watch, sending this whole sector to the upside, guys.
Boy, so we got a couple of reloads here on. Thank you, Adara, for all that. I mean, again, more updates like that will help us all because looking to find out what sectors are moving, what stocks are going, and obviously we're missing things. I mean, I'm in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positions right now. So yeah, it's a little intense right here, but you know what we're doing, man? It's another face slap right now for new holdings as there it goes back up there to the upside. So as Neil had mentioned, there looks like there is going to be some sort of an imbalance there, but we'll still sell some 48s if we're lucky enough to get those right now back to the 200 period moving average. So we've done it once. We'll see if we could do it again right there for this name. We like the stock. That is for sure new holdings going back there up to the upside. NVIDIA still that slapper, man. That's a face slapper right there for sure, as we are now $7 in the money and trying to go a little bit higher. We do get that fill on new there, so we're getting some more out. But NVIDIA just continues to climb, man. $7 and going higher. Unbelievable move there. And then SMCI, we just reloaded it down there at 30. We're able to get some out for profit. We're up on SMCI, but maybe not for long as we do have that 200 period looming right there at 70. So far so good on SMCI, but again, position pending on that. And we do get those fills up here at NU. So far so good on that one, but you got to wait for those. Hopefully it'll come in again. Walmart just cruising. We got to start to get out, man. I'm in too many shares, which is why we're starting to get out of some Apple. Maybe we'll take out some NVIDIA up here as well.
Yeah, and just I want to shout out to Alt Styles and thank you for the super chat here. We appreciate you, the 20 bones. Here is your bird dog dollars for giving the early news on MSTR Citron short. You made a killing on MSTZ, which is it's the 2 times inverse. Today, thanks crew. Thank you to you, Alt Styles. Maybe we should have I don't know a good place to get a hot dog around here. Street meat is the way to go usually. But when you come back, you're not here tomorrow. I was gonna say we should do like a hot dog thing. We can do that maybe the next Friday.
I don't know where hot dogs are at. Yeah, we could definitely grab some hot
I'm
dogs.
just a street meat guy.
There's no street meat here though. That's the thing.
You got to go all the way. Yeah, I usually get them outside the dome when I'm going to.
I mean, there's probably some good hot dog places around here.
There's got to be somewhere you get a good dog.
Obi knows a hot dog.
Obi knows, of course, Obi knows a hot dog place. But on the imbalance locator, Marathon Oil has done 7 million in volume. It has a 6.3 million imbalance. Buy imbalance. It is moving on the day heavily to the downside, despite the fact that energy is doing well. And I'm keeping an eye on this. I checked for an index action. I did not see one. So there's no index action that I'm aware of on MRO, but I can sort of keep digging. The only reason I look for it is if it's a 6 million buy imbalance and it's supposed to be some kind of a sell, like if it's coming out of some kind of an index or it's a down weight or it's moving from one to the other, then I don't want to tell people, hey, massive buy imbalance, but we have information that it's supposed to be a sell at the close. And so if I see something, I'll let you guys know. Tighten the stop on NVIDIA, and looks like that was a good decision because look at it start to head lower and accelerate to the downside. So it tried to break out. It couldn't get past the $0.50, and then we just lost back through the 85-cent level. So we never got any better than 25 pennies, well, a little bit more than that, actually 30. And then we just lost like 20 cents on the way back in. So it's more of a flat trade to end the day on NVIDIA. NVIDIA is still going to be great, but that's because of the morning, the clean 150 break, the clean 145, and then afternoon he tried to go here, but a little bit of a false start there, to give another track analogy. For NVIDIA on that last little breakout. I'm going to keep some eyes on that MRO. I'm dedicating a level 2 if there is something crazy at 350. I don't see anything bad if it does stay that big a buy.
All right, we'll just get out of new holdings there if it goes back into 1340. So I'm just going to cancel my stop, which was initially just a little bit lower. I think it was into here, 35s or so breaker. So long at 39s. Out 40, so this is a 2-to-1 trade, no matter which way it is. We are now out of 75% of that. We got a great fill up there at 48, 47s. These were just little fills just to put some money in our pocket. Then that one coffee turned into 2 and turned into 3. So right now we'll wait to see if it breaks there. That 4, I'm just going to put it at 40. So because you know what, we could get that imbalance. Neil's already showed that. So we'll wait to see if it comes through to break it. And this is what those imbalances do look like. MRO. So there's going to be some sort of index action. Also with CTV, new holdings is right there as well. We'll get NASDAQ names coming through here at 350. So that's an interesting spot to look. All right, so that's about it for now on all of those. Now, I know we're both in SMCI right here. I'm long at $30.03. Neil's got this at 18s. It is trying to go back into 30. It's already done that, and it's trying to absorb all of this. So we bought it. We got a good average price. Now we're trying to buy it back in there. Remember what we said about the other day? We always take something if we think it's going to break, and then be able to average it back and try to trade it responsibly right here. So we'll wait to see what happens now at 29.80 or so as it's coming back in right now, SMCI. Not trying to put another L on the board here or anything like that, but I mean, I do like the trade here. And so far, since we've been showing you, we've got new bank there. DJT is unfortunately not doing anything. So it does make a move up there. We did buy the 25s. Again, it does go to 50s. It went to 40, like 42s. There, like I guess it's pretty close to that right now. I'm actually sitting in the 60s. I thought we could get a 50 break higher. I'm now just going to put something in there to get something out, maybe at 50 on DJT. Like, let's just get out of like 15% or so. We'll put that order right there at 44s. So we'll wait to see if we get that 44 fill at the top for DJT. And look, man, I mean, we want to go higher, but so far not so good. We did got in, got out. That was a pretty good winner up there into the 80s. Again, on the early push on the volume. And then now, since then, you can see sky's not really the limit. It's kind of going the other way now for DJT. So let's just continue to wait for it. We'll sit in the 40s and see if we're lucky enough to get something. But so far, that's what I'm looking at there for that name. Apple pulling back. You mentioned that as well with NVIDIA. That's coming back in a little bit.
Bitcoin pulling back hard.
Bitcoin 97.9. Okay,
Well,
that's
okay,
not going to
maybe
be good for MSTR.
hard's not the right word.
Well, I mean, that's a decent move. I mean, there's our NVIDIA at 148.26. So we are getting lighter in this space as well. So yeah, light into the close. Good rally for the Nasdaq, up 0.4 today. We'll take that, right?
If you had thought, look, let's be real. When Google was down, hit 5% down, when Alphabet hit 5% down this morning, I don't think a lot of people were betting that the Nasdaq was going to close green. As a matter of fact, I bet you almost nobody thought we were going to go green today. So it is what it is. But I can tell you, early good on SMCI, not this one. It can't hold a 30 level. I had this prior bar at 29.85. I like to have a consolidation level for an out if I'm long in front of the 30. So it couldn't hold above the 50, and it just does not hold that 29.80. So I'm out of SMCI. You know, VWAP trades, there's a reason we keep talking about VWAP. I think because if a stock is going to go extended, I have nothing wrong with trying to play something for the afternoon for a big move in the afternoon. But ideally, you're into something as it trends off of VWAP. And then you're holding in, or you're adding maybe on a dip a little more aggressively because you've got a good price. Those late day breakouts, I always try to give it not too far of a berth. Okay, so for everyone that keeps typing MSTR in there, yes, we just mentioned Bitcoin pulled back. MSTR is actually, oddly enough, not at the lows. So Bitcoin pulls back, and MSTR for the first time is bouncing off lows when Bitcoin made a pullback. I suppose that's not a bad thing, but it's still like 17.5% down. It just bounced and tried to get through 400 off of 380 and then rejected 400 and is right back in. So one green candle followed by a reversal candle at 400, and we're putting another red one in. So even when it does bounce, the follow through is non-existent. There's no other way to say it for MSTR. This is going to be wild tomorrow. If I play this, I would rather try an SSR bounce tomorrow than today. Like the day two after it's been flushed, and then regardless of where it opens up tomorrow, it's going to be short sell restricted the entire day tomorrow. Looking for a bounce tomorrow, I always find a little bit safer than here, because to me, you want the early, if you're playing an SSR bounce, I want this kind of a play, not something random in the afternoon. You want it in the morning, generally speaking, is when I've seen those work a little bit better. And Ron, yeah, it's kind of a meme stock here. But it's a momentum stock. That's a better way to think about it. Just think of it like a momentum stock, and clearly the trend is to the downside, so don't fight it.
So this SKK Holdings here, I mean, we keep seeing it here in the chat. It's just halted again right now to the downside. So I don't know what exactly the story is with this name, but pretty bad, man. Down 77%. Yeah, just absolutely crushing. It's just been a short the whole day, all the way down. And now it looks like it might have found a base, though. I guess trying to go back upside right now, SKK. So have a quick look at that one. We can go over to a Darren story, but it is a huge move down right there. It looks like it's halting now to the upside. So I think this is probably a good halt up, but we'll wait to see. Just halts at 104. It's going to open up in about a minute or so by the looks of it. So that's going to open up, and then we'll see. It's going to halt immediately again, I would assume, with this kind of movement down to $1. This is that halting stuff. So we'll wait to see what does wind up happening. But yeah, SKK here, downside move for sure. We were able to get some more out on new there, Darren in 1 second, but DJT right here just flat. So hopefully getting something from that. What's up, Adara?
There is very little information on SKK, but I'll give you guys what I've had. This is halted basically throughout the day. We have a pretty small float, 4.37 million share float. We've got a market cap here of $16.24 million, so fairly small market cap as well. I'm not seeing any short float information. It's worth noting from what I'm seeing, apparently they closed their IPO, which is valued at $10 million as of October 9th. So fairly recent IPO here is SKK. This is an ADR based in Singapore. So here's some background info on SKK. If I see anything news related, I'll let you guys know. But it's down 77%, halted like crazy, and no news that I can see, guys.
No news.
I mean,
I guess they must. Well, it's that closing of the IPO, whatever.
Yeah,
that
stock
means.
that was $5 went to $11, and then when it started to roll over, it cascaded. I think I'm going to show Obi a chart like this. I don't know. He might be listening. He's done 31 million in volume. And look, I like mean reversions too. But if your whole game is you like a mean reversion type play, something like this is probably going to give you the biggest juice if you take a shot at it. Now, obviously, when it does break trend, there's a bounce higher. Don't get me wrong. But like it's breaking trend at $10 when it went from 5 to 10 and then consolidating. There's this last run here. Granted, depending on your entry strategy, I can see an argument that you're not holding it 70 cents against you if that's your thing. But usually you want it to that bar, which it holds. So your 10 entry, your stop somewhere around 10.85, and it had a $5 range underneath. And look what happens when it flat bottom breaks. You can be adding to that thing when it loses underneath VWAP. Just as Sean said, it's probably going to halt a bunch of times because, I mean, now it literally doesn't have to move anything when it's $1 to go into a halt. So this is going to be a no-fly zone for me, 100% on SKK. You still have MRO is now 8 million shares to sell. So okay.
Find out anything about that one? Or?
Nope.
Oh.
I mean, it was a huge. It was 6 million to the buy side. I'd swear, and now it's 8 million to the sell side, and it's done 8 million shares worth of volume. Maybe I'm not looking hard enough. I'm going to double check in tip because that's way too big for there not to be an index action. That's kind of random. There's got to be something happening today on that stock, so I'm just going to search one more time.
Yeah, good idea. Let's go over, oopsies. Yeah, that's actually a good one to hit. I didn't mean to hit that. All right, let's go over and see who made the most money there yesterday in tip here at Real Trading. Okay, hold on a second. What just happened here? Oh, God, longs at 12s. Oh, no. All right, so just real quickly here as we struggle to get some orders out, as we continue to watch out what's happening in the market. Okay, so, yeah, so far so good. All right, so here we go, tip. So yesterday, 18,000 somebody on New York and NASDAQ made. I mean, we can always try to pick whatever names we think might be the culprit there, but New York and NASDAQ, there's so many of them, so take your choice. That one, maybe Coinbase, who knows, yesterday. But it looks like it was pretty lit with the North American markets. We had Hong Kong, someone traded both those exchanges, so that's the advantage again. These are just individual traders, so that's the advantage of Real Trading. The fact that you can trade any exchange. We have over 50 plus exchanges available here over at Real Trading, so definitely have a quick look if there's anything that interests you. But after that, not much else. Amex, NASDAQ, Canada there, a couple Canadian traders trying to do some damage on the board there, a couple grand. So yeah, that's that. That is compare your profits. And again, that's just if you are here at Real Trading, then obviously you would know that page and you can double check what others are making just so you can see that the dream is indeed alive. All right, so some outs there on Apple. We are so light on all these names as they start to fall back in, but they are coming back in. So a couple good outs trying to bounce off VWAP. We now only have 3 minutes left until the imbalances. So yeah.
I did find it.
Just getting out. Yeah, found what?
Yeah, so MRO,
right.
We have a couple of research, again, in tip where Sean was just showing you. We also have a bunch of research reports that everyone can read when they come in the morning for anyone that's at Real Trading. One of them that usually has most of the index actions didn't have MRO, but I was able to find it's coming out of the Russell 1000.
I'm just going to get out of
So that makes obvious sense why you have an 8 million sell imbalance. And look, that was actually, I look back in the note on tip for that. Let me just double check because I can see pretty much exactly when it was posted. That was posted pre-market, that you knew this was going to be a delete, and this is what the stock did. Once it lost support underneath VWAP, it just programmed selling when realistically what was going on with energy today? Energy was strong, and you're essentially just trading down. So doesn't always happen this way, but every now and then you will see a strong trend on an add or a delete. So I'll have it up, but we're expecting 8 million. I mean, obviously, this is a ConocoPhillips MRO deal. So a lot of times when you have like any kind of an acquisition and it's like one stock for another, there can be some hedging going on. And I generally don't love those plays unless it's a gargantuan sell. So if it is bigger than this 8 million, that would be better. But if it comes out as everyone's seeing it here, then I'm not going to like it at all, especially because this is a deal. It's just basically just exchanging for a ConocoPhillips.
Yeah, okay. So
I don't like those.
you have to figure that Yeah, the biggest trade we had on a closing imbalance was that new. Remember when that came out? It was like 10 million shares.
And it was clean. It was just new was going in an index, and that was it. It was clean buy and balance, and that's it.
All right, glizzy time. All right, so DJT, I don't know. I'm trying to go back up to the upside, so we get that cover there in and around that 50s. I think we were at 44, we said. I double check it, but here it comes up. We just got to get through a couple of these levels at 47, then through 50, and then we'll go, right? We have an offer at 65, so hopefully we'll get through that 50 level as we do have those imbalances in 1 minute. I don't think DJT, I mean, if it comes with a bid imbalance, that'd be nice, and that should get us some cover where we need it, but at the end of the day, DJT right now trying to be the place to be for Donald John Trump right here. So we'll figure it out. Hopefully that can go back up to the upside. SMCI really not doing anything, so there you go on that one. We'll have to wait to see what SMCI wants to do at the end of the day, but for right now, trying to hold out. So we'll wait. It did just get above 30 again. We didn't take anything out. We'll wait to see if it wants to go up there. With only 30 seconds left, we will have a chance to trade in and out of all of these names. So coming up now, SMCI. I do have an offer at 30s. Hopefully we can get that, but here we go. Coming into play right now are these imbalances. So we'll only show you the NASDAQ and New York side of things. So here we go in 5 seconds now. 3, 2, 1. What's up, Jacoby Waters? We like that, man. All right, so here we go. MRO, Intel, Amazon with Amazon with a nice little buy. MSTR there with a sell. 1 million to sell. So we try to tell you guys. I mean, you guys make whatever move you guys want to, but yeah, trading this name into the close was always going to be a little bit dangerous. There goes MSTR. Nobody else going to show you this. Nobody else going to show you this. MSTR with 1 million. Pressure on that, and pressure is busting them pipes. That is for sure. Amazon, though, going maybe the other way? Nah, not really. There's your MRO, Starbucks, not much. Coinbase helps with that sell side as well. I don't see much on Palantir, on Coinbase. Palantir, I don't know why I just said that. Maybe I did see it. iBit with a sell as well, Starbucks.
Everything to the sell. The only buys in there, what, Ford and Amazon?
Yeah, and then TLT, which doesn't matter.
And that MRO, look, it came out 6 million instead of 8, so that's a no-fly zone. It need to come out like 10, like 9, 10 or something like that. But look at the flush on MSTR. Now 20% down as it continues to go to the downside. NVIDIA,
Walmart.
I mean, everything rolled back over. NVIDIA right down into view up. So look, you had to get out of it. The breakout, it would have been nice if we could have broken 148 and gotten over resistance, but it just didn't happen on NVIDIA today. So back into VWAP for NVIDIA with only 8 minutes to go. I'll be done at this point. DJK saying we all knew it was crazy for MSTR at 500, but not brave enough to short it because it was nuts. Yeah, but that's 100% right. I mean, I don't short. You know what? I have never shorted anything in my personal. My TFSA, in my personal trading account. I'll short as a day trader. That's about it. And it is what it is. To each their own. But of course, there's a lot of people. But the thing about that logic is, what we didn't think it was crazy at 400. Right? It was only at 500 that we thought it was crazy. It wasn't crazy when it was at $400. I could tell you the same thing about what's the best example? Carvana. Right, so the first example that came to my head logically, something that's still at the highs. Do I think Carvana makes any sense up here? Absolutely not. No. Does anybody think Carvana makes sense at $250? Probably not, but it's one thing to say that. It's another thing to put on a trade. And as a day trade, you can probably find some fail breaks through 250 for some little reversions, but a day trader is never going to get the pullback from 250 to 200. Almost very unlikely to get that move. It's not literally impossible, but you're probably not going to get that. You've got to swing, you got to play options for it, and at least with options you can define your risk, but it's going to be ridiculously pricey on something like a CVNA. We did miss a super chat. Thank you very much, Ramin. We did miss a super chat. There we go. It was from T-Man. You guys are great. This is timely because, and thank you for the super chat, NNE short. This is pretty much right back into that same point, because if I pull up nano-nuclear energy, it's like, okay, well, that is sort of parabolically moving to the upside. $30. I mean, there's a day trade. I suppose you could look at something like a $30 rejection, but it's in a space which is hot, where there's a ton of growth. I tend to like SMR. That's the one that I'm in. but it's trend up, and it just recently made a breakout. Like, it just recently broke this 27 level. Yeah, it's at a resistance spot, but I almost think I'd be looking consolidation if I was entering something new. Like, can it hold on to this top end of the range, especially the 27 level? The short would be a day trade short on a mean reversion, which you'd have to already be in. Like, what would I look for as a day trade? Well, here's your consolidation. There's your, whoops. I want that one. There's your new trend to the upside. So it's not a very clean move. I would have lost if I tried this. It's a harsh move down. It doesn't actually give you the entry for any kind of a short till this bar. Like, I could break a rule and try to be in here, but it's somewhere in this 15-minute bar that you're trying to get the entry. And could you have really gotten 30.50? I don't know. Maybe you're getting this down here at 30.20. But that's what I would look for as a day trade. If you think it's a short up there, I'd slap the trend, see when it breaks the trend, and then try to find myself a good entry there where I can stop it out at 31 bucks. And then you can ride it to the downside. But that's a trade. You'd be out of it right now as a day trader and not holding it if this thing flushes to 25 bucks. You know, it's a very different story holding it overnight. This could be at $33 tomorrow for all I know.
All right, DJT right now, and that is the problem with holding things overnight, of course. DJT right here, $30.53. I'm going to get another piece out right here if we can do that. And then we never got our 65s, but all we're getting is sort of what we can get right now. So I'll take another, okay, well, whatever. We just punched out some there at 50s. As it starts to go back now to the upside. So here we go, DJT. It's basically going to be flat, but at least we tried it again down there off view up, and now it's starting to go. So a little bit of a trade there at the end of the day. Walmart was a great one today. I mean, we just were able to get something, or get the last piece out right there at 40s. So this turned out to be just an easy trade there today going long on that. All right, so our last piece out of NVIDIA was right up here. So we did real well getting out of NVIDIA today. So that was a really good one. Nice move back to the high of the day. We'll see tomorrow. I won't be here, but we'll see where that goes. All right, so DJT still going higher right now. So I don't know. I mean, I have to go over to the desk, but okay, we'll punch some out there at 56s. As you can see right here, some 56s just went through. So we'll punch some of those out. I'd like to hold more for this move, but we do only have 4 minutes left. So thank you so much for everybody for watching. And Darren and I will be on the after hours show. We basically, yeah, we don't really have any, we didn't have a guest yesterday, did we? No, good. Yeah. So we're pretty much.
What's NVIDIA?
Yeah. We're pretty much going to be scrapping most of the guests moving forward. There's just always so much to go through. So, you know, if there's anything that we can line up for you on the after show, we'll definitely do that. We want to thank all of the guests that come through. We're not scrapping them all. It's just we got to go over some earnings. And like yesterday, like Neil just said, there are some big ones. So we want to make sure that we give you guys everything and more of what you want and less sort of fodder for all of that. So, all right, so there we go. DJT right now making the move back in. We did cover almost the rest of this. I just got to get out with only 3 minutes to go.
MSTR did flip at 355.
Okay, that's good.
The million sell imbalance did pair off. There, I don't even see it. SMCI also now a bid of 900,000, but MSTR, the 1 million sell imbalance flipped. It caught the best bid that it has since, I don't know, like 1030. Which was a bounce of about 25 bucks in here. But MSTR, clearly, it was at $540 something at the highs in the pre-market. So it's still a very big red day. We didn't really talk about this, but I just saw someone, Rohit was putting in the chat, snow. I'm a little surprised. I didn't think it was going to close above 170. I kind of felt like once it made the double top, that Snowflake was going to kind of lose the 170 level. That was just a big one on the daily chart. In here. So, love what's going on in Snowflake. I think it's got some room to rally. Obviously, the breakout off the 50-period moving average has worked. It's in a different phase. Like, I have zero intentions of buying more Snowflake stock. This is a trade. Like, to me, I always separate things. Like, there's things that I'll trade and there's things I'll hold in the long term. Like, I wish I could tell you that Baba was a trade for me, but it's not. It was a long-term play. But this is a trade for me, where now I'm just holding on to the last third when we got that 120 breakout here on Snowflake. And if it makes another leg higher and we get into 200, great. We can hold on to it. But I kind of thought it would hold lower, hold underneath that 170. Love the fact that it's holding above the 170 mark. I'm just, morbid curiosity is going to lead me in the last 2 minutes to watch the chart of MSTR because it's the most volatile thing out there. IK in the chat saying tomorrow 350, equally likely whether it's 350 or 450. Let's be real. it's going to be a place where there's going to be a lot of activity and a lot of volatility, especially on a Friday with options expiring. It's going to be short sell restricted tomorrow. That does mean it'll set up SSR bounces. And when I say that, what I'm looking for, I mean, this is kind of like this bottom, that's a tricky one. This is what I'm talking about for an SSR bounce, like a clear trend down, parabolic red, and then you get a break of that trend and a bottoming tail candle. So there's your bottoming tail candle on massive volume. So there's your biggest volume candle, bottoming tail candle. You get your green, break of trend line. I'd be looking long here. Either stop to the low, or if it's got a bigger body, I might give it to the body of the candle, but with a wick bottom, give it a little bit more room. And that's the entry I'm looking for. It's a very specific setup. Maybe we see that tomorrow on MSTR. I don't really know. But when it's this volatile, I like entries like this because you can get yourself a tight stop and then a potentially big gain. Now, I would argue that I might have bungled coin a little bit today with that same setup. Got the long I wanted. Why I wasn't as bullish about it is my entry wasn't off a big volume candle bottom on Coinbase. So I wasn't necessarily thinking it was going to be strong enough to get all the way to 308. So I ended up getting out when it was like $5 or $6, actually $6 or $7 in the money. But again, you have to have a setup and you have to have a plan. The other thing you got to do is get on over to Adara when it's time to ring the closing bell, which is about to go in less than 10 seconds. So let's ring it. It was NVIDIA Day, but MSTR took the limelight in 2 and 1. Ring it, Adara. So NVIDIA earnings, crazy volatility, breakout 150. That was great. And then you also had that move to the downside. Nice reversion at the end of the day there. Shout out to Sean who had that bottom. It was breakouts and everything. But if you had crypto names, whoa, is that a reel on Intuit? Is that right? Intuit out already? Okay, so I don't know if the numbers are out here, but INTU now down at 6. Is it really? No, it could be a bad dark pool. Like I'm not sure it's actually down there on INTU. That could just be some bad print. But shout out to everybody. That would be absurd. I'm seeing prints go off in the 70 range, so these could be a little bit wrong here on INTU. I don't want to assume this is correct here. That's a nasty move if it is true. But it is the aftermarket show coming on tap. I want to give a big shout out to both members of our team, both Fabian and Ramin, making us look and sound good every single day. And a shout out to Andre. We got some great things coming out, especially this weekend that you're going to love. I promise you, so stay tuned for that. He's done some hard work, and it's going to all be paying off, and hopefully you guys are going to love what you're going to hear. Big shout out to the midday crew. Hey, you had Joe, you had Sharif, you had all the crypto moves going absolutely nuts, some options talk, which is fantastic, and a big shout out to Adara on the way back, Brendan filling in on the desk, and a shout out to my main man, Sean Katina, who will be joined by Adara for today's market recap show. You don't have to do anything. Just sit back, relax, chill out, and we got the market recap for you right about now.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you again for the big show. We do welcome back Adara.
Thank you. I'm happy to be back.
Now the recap show again. Neil yesterday for the banger show on NVIDIA, and then today, of course, the name that everybody's really interested in. Intuit report. So we're expecting more viewers today than yesterday because of this. So right now, if you come over to the screen right now, Intuit is going to go to the downside. This is the biggest name on the board here today, over 170 billion in market cap. Intuit right here, expecting 236, revenue of 3.14 billion. The implied move is over 5%. So we're going to give it a look right now, down $40. What are the numbers on Intuit?
Intuit, they beat across the board, adjusted earnings of $2.50 per share. As opposed to estimates of $2.35 per share. Sales here, nice beat as well, 3.28 billion versus estimates of 3.14 billion. I'm also going to go over 2 non-earnings related catalysts really quickly that we got right at the close. MSTR announcing that they've repeated their $3 billion offering of 0% convertible senior notes due 2029. So MicroStrategy announcing this at the bell. Of course, MSTR got, to put it lightly, a little beat up today with that short report from Citron Research announcing they're shorting MicroStrategy as a BTC hedge. Then we also had Apple apparently seeing some reports swirling around here that Apple is looking to launch its Siri revamp in 2026 with more in-house AI. So that Siri revamp may be coming a little bit later than we were expecting. Also some other earnings, 2 smaller earnings, Netapp, Netapp, beating adjusted earnings per share and beating sales. Then we have Ross Stores, ROST, beating EPS but missing on sales. Copart, I believe, is expected at 4:30 p.m. We didn't have an ETA on GAP.
Yeah, MicroStrategy, that $3 billion offering right there, that's just going to go back into Bitcoin. So probably spiking Bitcoin very, very soon on that one. Here's ROST. Raw stores right now. Trying to go back up right there. A nice little move there. 142 up to 150. And again, as Adara mentioned there, ROST beating at 148 versus 140, but missing on sales. 507 versus 518 ROST. Netapp as well. You do have we're going to go over some of these plays on here. Uranium with a big day today. We talked about NEE. But look at Netapp. We just had those numbers as well for you. Netapp right now, the double beat and the F forward revenue guide higher as well. So it looks like Netapp right now starting to go to the upside. Nice little 8% banger right there. You could see right here, if we just sort of go into the daily chart, you're all the way, oh no, attention OB, and everybody else. I'm not here tomorrow, but this break, it's working right now. You're going to get a beat on Netapp right here, Netapp, and then you're going to break through the day's 52-week high and potentially all-time high. I'll look back at that, but that's a good little look there for Netapp. If we zoom back in a little bit there, you can see what we're talking about. There's that break. We're trading right here where this marker is, up at 135 and change right now. That high, 135. And there it goes, breaking 136 right now, goes Netapp, taking out that 52-week high. And let me just see if it is a weekly high right there, because again, you guys are watching this. This is a trading show, baby. We're here talking about what can we do moving forward. What's the next trade? Yeah, look at Netapp on the weekly. Oh, yeah. We really like that break. Netapp really, really working out right now. Nice upside move. I don't know about that Apple news there. I mean,
It was Bloomberg reporting it. I found that out after the fact.
Oh, yeah. No. I mean, it's fine about the news. What I'm saying is like that is a little disappointing because there was some talk about Siri being revamped with iOS 18 and the new sort of push on that Apple AI. We were hoping that was going to get that Siri revamp earlier rather than later. 2026 is pretty late, man. That's like 4 or 5 quarters you're going to have to hear about before that hits. So I'm a little nervous. Here's Apple on the weekly chart. It is slowing down a little bit. You did hear, I believe, Sharif talk about that 230 level, and he liked it, got some out there. I don't ever want to get out of some Apple, but on the weekly, it is sort of slowing down. But we actually like when this happens here on Apple on the weekly chart. What it's doing is just gathering momentum, in my opinion. Those dips keep getting bought up. That's around 215. You're just sort of zoning up now for that break on the weekly chart for AAPL right now. And there's earnings. Nice little quadunk. And then right back up right now trying to break out. What do you got for us?
I have INTU, which I want to go over because they did beat there on EPS and sales. However, when I started Rivian Millionaire for asking about the guide for INTU is kind of not the best. So they're seeing Q2 2025 adjusted earnings between $2.55 to $2.61 per share. Analysts were looking for $3.25. So that is quite the miss for both sides of that range. Then we get revenue here. They guided $3.812 billion to $3.845 billion for quarterly revenue. Analysts were looking for $3.88 billion. So basically across the board, missing EPS and revenue estimates pretty significantly with their Q2 guidance. It's also worth noting here to go over the numbers they reported for this most recent quarter, Q1 2025 for them. They had increases year over year for revenue, global business solutions group revenue, online ecosystem revenue, and Credit Karma revenue, but their consumer group revenue dropped on a year over year basis. Their EPS drops on a year over year basis, and then also their GAAP operating income dropped. So pretty mixed report, even though they did beat, technically speaking, on the top and the bottom line.
MSTR does. Thank you, Adara, for all of that. MSTR, big story today. I mean, of course, as Bitcoin, it's still ripping right now. I have Bitcoin up right here. We can have a quick little look just to get that Bitcoin price, 97.8 right now, and still working out. This is what Bitcoin looks like here, sort of on that daily chart, trying to break higher right now. Great little look there for BTC as it just continues to go up. We want to thank Binance for this chart, but there it goes. Nice move on the daily for BTC and just continuing to go higher. So we really like that name. Continues to work. We do have, again, the trade of the week for me next week will be on iBid. So take a look at we're doing a little bit of a different format there for the next week, the week ahead. So I'm really excited about that. You've been really, Adara's been killing it on that, so it's been so good that we're going to come in and ruin it now. But we're going to give some ideas there. Thank you for that. Definitely check out our week ahead video. It's going to have everything Adara's talking about, plus a couple trade ideas as well. So if you're looking for some swing trades from Joe, myself, I'm just joking about ruining it. It's gonna
no, I know. I was confused. I don't even think I'm in it. That's why I think it's all you guys.
Oh, it's only us.
As far as I'm aware,
week. Watch out, Brendan. Oh God. Okay, there we go. Switch cameras. Now Brandon can walk by. All right. So that's good. We're going to wait to see here MSTR downside move of 17%. Bye-bye, MSTR. And again, just talk about is it fairly valued? Is the 280,000 Bitcoin that they own divided by the price of their shares, what exactly does that give us right now with MSTR? And I think it was it Hindenburg? What was the, anyways, that doesn't matter, but a downside hit piece right there.
Today it was Citron.
Oh, Citron. Okay, yeah, there it is. There's the story right there. Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy takes Wall Street by storm, but they just did complete that $3 billion offering. So you're going to get more money piling into Bitcoin very, very soon, courtesy of your boys over there at MSTR. So INTU, good look there by you guys in the chat, and good look by Adara. This continues to move a little bit lower into 611 right now, but not the end of the day, not the end of the world right here for Intuit. Just a little bit of a pullback, but the problem is now it's below the 200 and below the 50-period moving average. So you got to watch out for a 600 bounce. I don't mind this. Again, Intuit, QuickBooks, all that, been going through a bit there. Nice move up to 700, but fails at that top, then refuses to hold that 52-week high rate there of 672. And now with a little bit of a bad report, but again, we don't have to catch a falling knife, wait for $600. Oh boy, was it NVIDIA's day today.
Oh yeah.
What a wild day. I keep on getting rid of this, but that's still, we can keep that there. But a nice little move there for NVIDIA. For me, the last time we were at the 50-period moving average, if we're going to drop an anchor on that, let's do that right now. We'll drop an anchor right here and see where we go. Oh, apparently we won't. There's an anchor. We'll drop it right here. There it is. So that anchor on that last sort of gap up right there from, I guess, 120, making that move into the 140s, does have support down there at 135 for NVIDIA. So as we zoom in, we can sort of just see what was happening here today on a 3-minute chart for NVDA. So what a violent day it was. It takes out what a banger, by the way, off the open, as we really ripped up into that 153 high. But the thing is, supply, maybe that's a problem. No matter what demand is, if we can't produce enough chips and get Blackwell in their hands, then what are we going to do? I think the revenues could have been north of $40 billion, and that would have sent this stock to the moon. But again, a little bit of a warn there on the supply. I think that's a good problem to have. It does fade all the way back in before finally finding a base in and around that 140. Now, could have we found that 140 earlier? Well, it was yesterday's bottom there. The morning's bottom in and around that 140. Always try to zoom out to find other levels. But at the end of the day, NVIDIA does come back in a little bit there, Adara, trying to make a little bit of a lower low coming in, but it doesn't do it. It holds there at 146. So you have a look at NVIDIA at all today?
I was looking at NVIDIA a little bit. I was watching John Deere a lot for earnings day one. My earnings, we had a lot of earnings day ones for spready names. You guys know what I was looking at. I was watching a lot of Snowflake. Snowflake with that 169 level was pretty nice. That was a bit of a daily level. I actually put that chart on my Twitter this morning before the open at tradertv.live. You can check that out there. 169 ended up actually being around where VWAP was for SNOW, so pretty interesting level. I also, John Deere around that, with that breakdown around that 440 level, also pretty interesting, but it did bounce at VWAP as well. Right now, though, I want to look at ESTC, which is Elastic. Some people asking about this one in the chat. ESTC here, they did beat here for earnings per share and for sales, and their guidance here stronger than expected here for fiscal 2025. So adjusted earnings between $1.68 and $1.72 per share versus $1.54 expected. That would be a beat.
I saw you had it
revenue, $1.45 billion versus $1.457 billion versus compared to $1.448 billion expected. So Elastic beating on guidance there. But yeah, honestly, Sean, NVIDIA, congrats to what you did with that stock. For me, though, I prefer my spready tickers in terms of what I'm watching.
Yeah, I know, great one. Deere has been amazing. That 350 level on DE, huge. All right, what's still to come out, though? Gap. So we're going to find out what's going on with Gap. Gap had a really nice little ramp up into the close here for GPS. Of course, symbol old GPS. Now Gap, what we're looking for here is $3.81 billion on the revenue side. Probably winds up beating that. We've seen retail been pretty hot. Sans Target, but again, this is a clothing play. We saw Ross going to the upside right there. We've seen Walmart talking about some of the essentials and then making money there. So I think Gap, again, with their athletic wear, relatively affordable. They have a new CEO in there. I like Gap, and I think they can beat. We're going to wait to see, though, 14.5% short float. And if you look at Gap here on the daily chart, okay, won't zoom back. Oh, that's because it's a new symbol, so it's not going to move for us. But Gap's been really doing not much since they've changed symbols. Unfortunately, unfortunately, Trade Ideas, it should have carried forward the symbol, but it looks like it didn't. So it looks like a $20 bottom with it trying to break through $22. So I actually like gap here. I think that's definitely something to watch out for. That short flow, I think, is going to play today again for GPS. So let's have a quick look at that once it comes out. If we do get it, we will have it in. Adair's scouring many more resources than this, but I have the Benzinga Pro platform up right here, so it's in my ear. If it does come through, then we will review. Okay, I mean, what was read today? Not much, man. The solar names continue to be a downside risk. Still breaking below. This is just pretty pathetic, honestly, in TAN. Just keeps on going lower. I'm actually going to call up a weekly chart for many of these ETFs so we can have a little bit of a better look. So this is on the weekly, goes all the way back to April 21 right there where we finally had that move higher. But since then, just kicking it back down, kicking the tire down the road until eventually we maybe get to this $24 mark. I don't know. Solar names have not been in light of this new presidency, although we did have, I forget who it was on that was talking about that Donald Trump is not necessarily against some of these solar names. It's just full speed ahead on other energy sources like oil and drilling. So we'll have to wait to see. But I think TAN has a play there. And if you're going to look and dig deeper into TAN, you know what? I'm going to go back to a daily. Let's look at First Solar. This has had a huge move down, but maybe it's basing out. Going back to these April levels, 175 here for First Solar. That could be a play. So mark this down, and I would take this. If you like solar, and again, do your research. I don't know what sort of plans are happening here, if there's going to be any credits coming back in for some of these residential and commercial units. But First Solar should work. It is the best of breed. It's been a great stock. And just into here, this 175, I think if you go long in and around here and use this 170 to 175 as your base, you're taking $10 or $15 worth of risk for a nice upside move in First Solar. I mean, it's not Solar Edge, is it? When this name just keeps on going. $12? Ramin, very impressed with that. Look at this. 271 Ramin last year at this time. $270, now $12. You can't even zoom out far enough to get a good look here at Solar Edge. It just keeps on. This is where it was on earnings, $18. Yikes. This reminds me of those spiders for Neil.
Yeah.
All right, Gap. What's going on with Gap? Tell me they beat. I mean, at least I said they could.
Well, so I'm seeing here, apparently, I'm just reading their report, so I'm not seeing, sometimes there's different comparisons for different analysts, but I was seeing here revenue estimates of $3.81 billion. They reported net sales of $3.8 billion, so it looks like that's a slight miss, but it was up 2% on a year-over-year basis. Comparable sales up 1% year-over-year. We're still getting a push up here. The company also had a 2% decrease in store sales, but a 7% increase in online sales. Their gross margin is up here. Let's see what other metrics we have. Apparently 64% increase here with cash equivalents, and short-term investment. So that's sounds like a pretty good look here. Year-to-date net cash from operating activities, $870 million. They also paid a third quarter dividend of 15 cents per share, and they have now approved another quarterly dividend of 15 cents per share. Apparently, they also raised their guidance here, so good look for GAP, raising their full-year outlook. If I see anything else, I will let you guys know, up about 15%.
I was putting in the chat there, oops, Brittany, we did it again, because there's that other call, man. We just had that gap up right there. We just talked about this immediately on this name. So it's a nice move up there, 22, up to 23, up to 24. Gap now trying to go. And there it is, man. And by the way, thank you to Recovery right now. Look, we put a lot of effort into the show, and it does mean a lot to us, but there it is right here. The info on this show is top tier. So we want to thank you so much, Recovery, for that one. Look, man, not only am I, maybe I'll do things a little bit different, and Darryl will do things different, Neil will, but I was talking about I like Gap. We talked about why. It's a nice little move to the upside there. It did scare to the downside, so just watch out. It's not a huge mover, but it is a mover there. So again, the retail space, a nice upside move for sure. Let's just check out what's going on with Bitcoin. Still trying to make that move up there. Still 98 and change right now for BTC. 98,050 right now. Going. Not gone, but still trying to go. 98,000. Nice move up there from 75. Let's see how high Bitcoin can go. And if there's going to be any trading in the after hours on IBIT. I actually looked. It's funny because Brendan and I talked about this. I was like, hey man, like, are we still in this crypto? What are we doing? And I remember, I don't think this has BTCC B in Canada? Oh, it does have it in Canada. Oh, okay, BTCC.B. So this is the name. It's not charting it. Okay, but anyways, in Canada, BTCC, this is another ETF. It's not going to be in there now. We're just going to flip over to IBIT. But Canada was one of the very first ETFs to announce, Canada was one of the very first countries to announce a Bitcoin ETF, and it was BTCC. And actually, I logged in today, and I was like, you know what, I kind of forgot that I put some money into there. I actually put in a little bit into that. And you know what, we're up on that position? 91% on that. I mean, I'm sure if Brendan checks it, we put in at the same time. It was basically when that, I mean, I'm going to find it on another chart, but that became public, and that was one of those little ETF bumps there. I think it must have been in and around that $50,000 mark. So good little move there for that BTCC ETF. But look at IBIT. Where do we find a spot for this? So on that week ahead video, I dug down a little bit deeper. We tried to find some good key levels for you. Not going to spoil it. I'm not going to be here tomorrow, but make sure you do watch that video, which I believe is dropping Sunday morning. Is that when it normally drops?
Usually, but like I said, I didn't know about this. As far as I'm aware, we used to drop Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m. So
okay, perfect.
Make sure to check out the new video whenever it may drop. Yeah.
I bought it too, says Dewey. So there you go, years and years ago. You know what, BTCC, hold on. I'm just gonna see if we can get it. Is it this one right here on the daily chart? All right, so again, doesn't seem to want to work out for us here on the Trade Ideas charting. But what was up today was uranium. Again, more talk about how in the world are we gonna power all of these chips? Well, you know how we're gonna power it? Looks like it's gonna be done through uranium and alternative sources of energy. We did see Microsoft getting involved in that. Amazon's talked about SMR and some of this. So this is just new scale with small modular reactors. Look what SMR has been doing here. We're long on this break rate. Well, we're long in this garbage down here, but it's been a nice move to the upside for SMR, continuously going. Still though, a negative. Come on, man. A negative EPS? And you're up this much? SMR year to date, hold on a second, new scale, year to date, 741% year to date on SMR. I talked about this with Neil there a little bit today, and someone asked about writing calls and all this kind of stuff to protect your positions. I just don't know enough about it. We'll have to get Joe. We'll talk to him about that. I'm not here tomorrow, but they'll talk about it tomorrow. And the thing is that you got to have some bangers in your portfolio just to sort of make up for indexing. Like if you're going to just buy SPY or Qs or something like that, those are absolutely fantastic returns. And quite frankly, those are the investments that you should really be making if you're going to be for the longer term. But there's nothing wrong with putting a little bit. If you're an index trader or an investor, put a couple points into names that you think have a chance to go. Even a name like Tesla. It's kind of like what we're doing with Uber on some of these dip buys. It's a name like Palantir that we were able to buy. A name that I think, and again, I haven't done enough work on this, but look at Mobileye. Mobileye has been a name here that's come to IPO. It was a nice move. It was spun off by Intel. This was one of, I mean, I can't believe Intel got rid of their ARM holding shares. That was the best thing they had. But Mobileye also, huge move down, could come back in and look to change the game a little bit. We had Brian on last week and on Tuesday, and we looked at a few names. You see, this is what it looks like on a weekly chart. You're just trying to get through this level right now, trying to build that back to the upside. If we drop an anchor on a name like Mobileye and just see where we're trading from, right into there from IPO, you still have a ways to go, man, up to $28 before we get to that anchored VWAP. So you do have some potential plays. Look at a name like Reddit. You got to have some money in these names for these blowout moves, right? And I just think if you're finding something to do, go to names that you're familiar with. I mean, we don't have Kava over here, but Kava, I mean, this came out as an IPO. This is Greek, like apparently it's Greek food, I guess.
Mediterranean.
Mediterranean, perfect.
Yeah.
So Kava, look at this, man. When it came out, people were like, is this the next Chipotle? And I don't know if you've seen a chart of CMG. That stock went up like 3,000% since its IPO right now. So Kava, again, another play that you could have had in your portfolio a year ago. Nicely done to the upside. $50 up to $150. And here, Radera, a lot of people haven't seen Chipotle. So let me just go over here on a weekly chart because we just know it from recently.
Crazy, yeah.
But this was back in 2018. Is that as far as it goes back? Probably. So this is $6 basically there. So $6 up to $60 and actually had a high there of 69. That's CMG. Oh, and DPZ. By the way,
Oh, yeah.
Domino's Pizza, that was another insane name. I have to even zoom back even further. This is only going back to 18s. So these stocks have existed from before then. But anyways, another big name there starting to go back up to the upside. So anything you want to talk about quickly? Because I have some more to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now in terms of earnings, people were mentioning my MSTR actually trying to recover a little bit here off that 390 or sorry, 380. So I'll mention that. But I know Ross Stores, I went over those earnings quickly, but I'm just going to go over those earnings again in case anybody missed it because we did do like a quick
battling back to Odera, so that's a good one.
Pardon?
Intuit battling back a little bit.
Intuit was interesting because they beat there for earnings per share and sales, but their guidance was quite the miss. So for their EPS and revenue range for the next quarter, both the top and the bottom end of those guidance ranges completely missed analyst estimates. So very, very weak guidance there coming through from INTU. In terms of ROST, though, we did have an earnings beat, EPS beat here, $1.40 per share versus $1.40 expected. Sales, though, were a bit of a miss, $5.07 billion versus $5.15 billion expected. And their guidance here a little bit mixed as well. Q4 EPS, they're seeing 1.57, so $1.57 to $1.64. That's below the estimate of $1.67. And they also saw here a 2 to 3% increase for comparable store sales. Their fiscal 2025 EPS guidance was kind of mixed. They're seeing $6.10 to $6.17 compared to estimates of $6.13. So midpoint slightly above estimates here, but generally guidance kind of weak. EPS beat, sales miss for ROST. There's lots of midday catalysts too, though, Sean. I was just thinking about that. Like, we've had a lot of these intraday catalysts lately. Roblox, MSTR, there's been a lot of movers. Yeah.
Gap right now. There's many things we could say. Is it potentially gapping higher? I mean, this right now, $25. I mean, this is why we previewed this for you before the earnings came out. I said Gap probably goes a little higher here. I had no idea this was going to go. The implied move here for Gap was 14%. So we are an extended mover right now. We did look at it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the GPS, but we're ticking all the way up here. Look at that break right there. Monster move for GPS. And again, sometimes you just got to channel check. I mean, I talk about this all the time. My wife's store, Gap's always been pretty busy. They've revamped it. They got a new CEO in there. Gap working to the upside right now on what was a great quarter for GPS. Now up 23%. NVIDIA, what? Like, there's so many more names out here that we could be enjoying.
Snowflake up like 30, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's not just NVIDIA's world, although we're all living in it. Gap right now, a nice move. They have Athleta, I think it's called, which is a decent clothing line. My daughter is now like, it's forget about it. She was giving my wife hell because she finally got those little mini Uggs, and they were, I think, cantaloupe or something color, and they weren't the right beige or something like that. But now she really likes them, so that's a good one. And now she's all about NKE, man. She is loving Nike right now. So we'll do a little bit of channel check on that. We'll figure out what's going on. Nike actually has I think Nike's changed a little bit because now when I go shopping, they actually have like really higher end. So you could buy the generic Nike stuff with the swoosh and like even just the Jordan 1s or the Air Force 1s or just kind of, they're all over the place, the Air Maxes that everybody has. But they do dig down a little bit deeper, and they have higher quality now athletic wear, which I think they can have a little bit of a higher margin on that. But again, new CEO, nice upside move there for Nike, but still does not able to get through the 200 period on the daily chart. Like, this has been such a banger of a show. We don't even have any earnings, and we haven't even really gone over anything, to be honest with you. We haven't talked too much about the moves that have happened today. The only index that we went over was uranium, but XLF continues to climb up. I mean, when you're having a good time, you're having a good time. There's XLF on the daily. I mean, the best sector in the S&P 500 this year is XLF. It's only up 34%, the banking ETF. But I don't know if you've seen JP Morgan.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. Oh, Derek, can I have your banking information?
No,
good one. Good one. Very, very good one. Right there. Always decline that. That was just a little bit of a PSA there. You know, I tested it. We said that to our kids all the time. It's like we're watching something and it's on TV. And it's like that Jordan thing that we have, the more you know. And my kids are watching, it's like we're watching a movie, or most of their sitcoms.
Yeah.
Like you're watching Big Bang Theory.
Young Sheldon.
And it's just, Young Sheldon. It's just like no one would ever do that. You know, you got to try to educate your kids a little bit to some of these decisions, you know.
Yeah.
Like if there's a big white van going down your street, it's not.
Don't hop in.
If the guy says it's an Amazon driver and he has your package, just let him deliver it, you know what I mean? But anyways, you passed it, Dara, that test. Anyways, there goes JP Morgan. Nice high side move on that one as well as XLF keeps on going. We had some worries on FXI today. We did have a big move down in some of the names. We saw PDD, we saw Baidu and whatnot, but it was just TAN and FXI. Oh, Paul had a really, I forgot to mention what Paul said here. All right, so it's Tesla. It was actually really funny. I can laugh at this because my wife is probably, oh no, she's not watching. She's at hockey, so, all right. But here's Paul. Last Christmas was great. I got a new Tesla for my wife. I thought it was a good trade. I thought that was pretty funny. Like you're thinking he got an actual Tesla for the wife.
Yeah, and then
he did the trade.
he traded his wife for
As long as it's for a younger model. I mean, that's what it's all about. All right, so nice move there for Tesla. Crickets in the air as I'm sitting here with Ramin and Adara. So what to expect on that one. All right, Tesla. Again, a good day for Tesla. Trying to hold out. Not a fantastic day, but it didn't dip down. There were some issues there. Trying to break through these highs for Tesla. It's just going to stall at this 350 marker. We only bounced off of that one day. We were able to get through that 350. So I really, honestly, I think this is the next banger trade. I hope it comes tomorrow.
Yeah.
But this break of 350 for Tesla, it's trying to base out right now. It's getting some support. We know what Elon's been up to. You're 1 story, 2 stories away from, again, self-driving, kicking back in there. Did you see what time it is?
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe
It's 3:50. It's almost time for some roll call. Just really quickly on what's been going today. We didn't even get to see which stocks are hot and which stocks are not, but here we go, INTU. Let's just go over, INTU. There it is right there. Yeah, nice move downside on a 1-minute chart. We'll zoom back in. It has battled back there, so that earnings play, okay, not great. ROST right now. I did want to talk about Google a little bit, but Raw Stores continues to hover around the highs, up that 8%, so that's going to be a good one there as well. Gap, please don't be falling back. It is a little bit. I don't own this stock, but nice to see it going back up to the upside. I know there's a lot of people in it. Intuit, Ross, Gap.
there was CPRT. I think they're supposed to come out around now. So Copart. There was also a Netapp. They beat as far as that. Let me double check Netapp because make sure I know I have the correct numbers on that. Netapp, yeah, they did beat there across the board for NTAP. Also, Google here, information reporting that OpenAI is looking to take on Google with a browser feature. So this is the third blow for Google today. First blow came pre-market with or I think last night with the DOJ being like, we want them to sell or get rid of their Chrome and we want them to reveal their search data. Then we have reports the DOJ is going to be going after the Anthropic deal that came around midday. Now we got the information saying that OpenAI wants to stab Google even more. So really interesting look here for GOOGL. Also, a quick fun fact with regards to your Tesla mention. I saw a Cybertruck in the wild.
Yes.
When I was on my trip, drove right past me. I took a photo. I was really surprised to see one there. And it had it had Manitoba plates. I was like, what are you doing? I took a photo. I was like so in shock. Literally stopped my conversation with my friend. I was like, who?
What did you think? Was it one of the generic silver ones?
Yeah, it was like fun. I was just shocked to see one in Winnipeg, honestly, because I haven't seen one in Toronto, and yet I see one in Winnipeg, and it literally drives right past me.
Oh, so it was a quick one.
Well, yeah, it was just nuts. I had time to take a photo, but I was
What's your opinion? Did you like it?
It was nice enough. I think I was more just kind of shocked to see it. It was kind of the stun. Okay. And I mentioned, oh my gosh, it's a Cybertruck, and I guess someone else heard me, and they were like, oh my gosh, that was a Cybertruck. So it was weirdly attracted a lot of attention. I don't know. It was kind of funny.
I think that's the point of it, right? It's an attention getter.
Oh,
I've seen a couple. I saw one on the road last night as well.
Really?
So I think they're getting a little more popular there. And it was the #1 selling truck in the United States, EV truck, was the Cybertruck. That was a couple months ago. Wow. Right now, VinFast, Rivian, or Cybertruck, you asked me which one I'd want? Oh. Ramin's neighbors are loaded. They have one of each.
Oh my God.
Okay, right here. Different neighbors. I don't know. This girl, she lives right next to Drake. So.
I was gonna say that makes sense. So that tracks from what I know of that area. Yeah.
And the Scarborough Bluffs there. She does not.
Okay, I still know what area though. Either way, yeah, it makes sense.
All right, something called roll call. Okay, let's just get this done really, really quickly. I mean, I want to thank everybody for joining us one more time here today. We have a heck of a lot of fun. It's great to have Adara back. It's great to have Ramin here. It's great to have everybody in the chat. As over 3,000 viewers staying late, and was more than that, but not a huge earnings day. I'll see everybody in Vegas. What's up, Vegas? What's up, JJJ? Hey, we should look, I've left this up to Neil. It seems like it's not happening. He was supposed to organize a Trader TV Live get-together.
Is that happening?
So exactly, right? It's been at least a year. So we'll have to figure out how he's doing on all that. We'll get to that. I feel like it's not doing much. All right, what's up, Kristen? How nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. What's up, Pilot Josh? Nathan Williams is here as well. Blue Arrow. Yo, still here's BJC. What's up, BJC? This guy's been here for a minute. Bristol is here. Another great show. Thank you so much for that, Bristol. Yeah, Prania thanking us, both of us. So thank you to Adara for sure. Blue Arrow, Adrian, Jacoby Waters is here as well. Anybody that you see on here? Adara?
Yeah, I mean, we got Bazinga on there, Black Sheep Trades, the Nathan Williams, Reloge, Relojes. I'm going to shout out Bears vs. Bulls as always. Shout out Ramin, shout out Sean. We got Blue Arrow, T-Man, Newfube with the capital P, J. Colby Waters, NYC Urbanista. I think that's a good one to end it on. Easy peasy, great name.
Jimmy Joe Smith, you are right. Traders stay late. That's something that we've sort of coined for a while. And traders are late, but not that late because we got places to go. Adara, potato.
French fries.
French fries. There it is right there. Thank you, Ramin, for that explicit language over there. And we will see you very, very soon. Obi, he's in the seat tomorrow. He's in the captain's chair tomorrow. Obi will be sitting in there. There he is. Obi's ready to get locked and loaded, Obi.
Long Amazon.
Watch out for Gap there, Obi. Look at Gap tomorrow. It's breaking out. It's getting higher. NTAP fits. Obi already heard me earlier. I mean, who can't hear me around here? But Obi's already heard that. NTAP on watch tomorrow. Kick it with Obi. Kick it with Neil Adara tomorrow. I believe it's Joe again. It will be.
Is this Joe or Sadea?
It is Sataya tomorrow with some guy named Sharif, I believe.
I think so. Potentially.
Yeah, I don't know. Some
We'll
guy,
find out.
Some guy with the mustache, kind of looks
Yeah.
like Super Mario, that guy. Yeah, I think he's back tomorrow. That is Sharif, and we can all talk about his delts or whatever that pitcher had there today. All right, everybody, we got to get out of here. We delayed too long. For Adara, myself, Sean, and Ramin, and Obi, we will all see you tomorrow here at Trader TV Live. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you.
Enjoy your long weekend, Sean.
Thank you.